Chapter 794. The golden Qilin panted heavily. He was bathed in blood as he fought the two primordial heavenly demons with all his might. Darkness mixed with lightning. The golden Qilin clashed head-on with the primordial heavenly demons. Although he was extremely weak, the golden Qilin was still stubbornly resisting. Even if he died, he would fight to the last moment. I've long heard of the strength of a high-level simulated land. The death rate of an ace captain is as high as 90%, but I didn't believe it before. The golden Qilin found joy in his misery. He knew that Baici had been killed before him. He and Baici had a chance against 4 primordial heavenly demons, but another one had appeared. 5 against 2? There was no chance of victory. Although he had used his bloodline power to kill 2, and Baici had dragged 1 down, there were still 2 primordial heavenly demons left. I didn't expect to die so cowardly. The golden Qilin felt helpless. He would rather be killed by Hong Bao and Li Jun than be killed by the primordial heavenly demons. The Qilin team he led had fought against the demons many times on the battlefield, and he hated the demons to the core. But now he was powerless. His movements slowed down, and his nightmare thunder, Saint Qi, weakened. The golden Qilin was injured again. At this moment, the golden Qilin was alarmed, and an aura was approaching. Damn Huashan, he's really taking advantage of me. The golden Qilin felt extremely indignant. It was too humiliating to die at the hands of such a despicable person, but there was no other way. The primordial heavenly demon's ferocious face exploded with terrifying power, completely locking him down. Pung! A powerful aura suddenly spread out. The golden Qilin was startled, and his brows furrowed. It's not Huashan. Qi. A sharp blade, energy broke through the sky. The black dragon roared, and the shocking storm was supported by the profound will of thunder. The whole sky was filled with lightning. Lin Feng rushed out like a heavenly general, saving the golden Qilin from the fire and water. He was not afraid at all, fighting 1 against 2. The 2 primordial heavenly demons roared, and immediately turned to attack Lin Feng. New storm. Lin Feng's Taiyu, Saint Qi, exploded. It was an ultimate Saint Qi. Even the first level was already so terrifying, far stronger than the golden Qilin's second-level nightmare Thunderstar. Lin Feng, in particular, had 100% of his battle prowess and was even more powerful. The demon race's strongest point was their strength. What a terrifying body. It was a profound and imposing power technique, which displayed the exquisiteness of the power to the extreme. Even if they didn't use their mysteries, their powers wouldn't change at all. There were many kinds of powers, and Holy Qi was one of them. Profound intent was power, Saint power was also power, and the power of the devil race. This was the pure power of a demon's body, the unique power of dark matter. The demon race used the dark matter in the universe as energy to cultivate. Therefore, the dark matter energy hidden in the bodies of the demon race was also a kind of power. Breaking force with force. Lin Feng was also a brutal master. He directly blasted out the new sea breaker, using the profound meaning of light against the dark matter of the demon clan. If he used the dark profound meaning to fight against the demon clan, his power would be weakened. However, the light profound meaning was the nemesis of the demon clan. To be exact, light and darkness were the opposite of each other. Ice crystal, sacred land. Lin Feng's actions caused an uproar. Can you be any more stupid? Helping your opponent? That's right. If the golden Qilin attacked now, wouldn't he be attacked from both sides? If it was me, I would have waited on the side. What's better than being a fisherman? This Lin Feng is simply too stupid. The mocking continued. No one understood Lin Feng's actions at all. If it was any other time, it would be normal. However, the problem was that this was the first round of the Path of Glory. Lin Feng's strength was already near the bottom. With a mere 3 stars, there was no way he could advance. He couldn't even protect himself, yet he still wanted to save others. He was simply too stupid. Brother Lin is a good person, Chueshua said. Wu Dao Zi clicked his tongue, being a good person for once. However, he might lose his chance to advance. Yi Xian nodded. Brother Lin saved the golden Qilin, so he won't attack him again. The golden Qilin took Bai Si's planet, so his star points will become 8. He's always been good and evil. He's cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. Manzi's beautiful eyes flashed. He can do anything for his friends and family. He won't care no matter how much he's sacrificed. While speaking, Chui Xue and Yi Xia couldn't help but nod in agreement. They had personally experienced it. The golden Qilin was lucky to meet Lin Feng. Wu Dao Zi sighed. It's just a pity about the 8-point ball. Yi Xia said. Manzi smiled. There's nothing to pity. After all, it's just a competition. If it doesn't work this year, it can come again next year. If it doesn't work next year, it can come again the year after. Moreover, only a quarter of the day has passed. There's still a chance. Yes, that's true. Everyone agreed. Do you still think he's a bad person? Light Man smiled. I don't believe that he is that good. Meng Meng pouted her small mouth. There must be a conspiracy. Maybe he is scheming something. With a preconceived impression, it was indeed not easy for Meng Meng to change her opinion of Lin Feng in a short period of time. He's not a bad person, Goddess Wakaman said softly. Meng Meng said, Ruomeng, didn't you say he came from an assassin organization? Goddess Wakaman nodded. It's hard to distinguish between good and evil in his actions. He does things his own way and has a strong desire to kill. But aren't we the same? Goddess Wakaman said softly, a person's good and evil is not determined by their actions. From Ruomeng's point of view, it should be judged by their heart. Heart, Meng Meng murmured. Lightman gave her a thumbs up. Master also taught me to have a clear conscience in everything. Act with your heart. Act with your heart. To Lin Feng, it was not difficult to be the fisherman who benefits from the fight between the sandpiper and the clam. If it were Earthwalker, Broken Hand, Black Flame, and the others fighting, he would naturally stand aside and be happy to reap the benefits alone. But since he recognized the golden Qilin and was familiar with them, there was no reason for him to sit by and do nothing. What was the point of considering the pros and cons? Let's save them first. Boom, boom. Lin Feng was like a hot knife cutting through butter. With his strength, he could defeat these 2 primeval heavenly demons in perfect condition, not to mention those that had lost more than half of their strength. The 2 primeval heavenly demons combined were only equivalent to 1 normal person. Defeating them did not take much effort. Are you all right, Brother Qilin? Lin Feng asked. The golden Qilin could barely stand at this moment. He sighed. My injuries are not light. If you had come a little later, I would have followed in Bai Si's footsteps. Bai Si? Lin Feng said in surprise. He did not see Bai Si when he came. He had heard that the golden Qilin and Bai Si had teamed up. It seemed to be true. It's a long story. We fell into Hua Shan's trap. Who would have thought that this would be a trap? The golden Qilin shook his head. The White Ram Army set up a natural danger zone in every danger zone, and this is the most dangerous place in the God Ruins. Oh, Lin Feng's eyes immediately lit up. To be continued. Chapter 795. That way, it leads to the Great Ruins. The golden Qilin pointed into the distance. As if cursed by the gods, there's a strange passage with primordial heavenly demons inside. The golden Qilin's eyes were filled with fear. Previously, Bai Si and I were chasing after Huashan. I was in front, and Bai Si was behind. Suddenly, 2 primordial heavenly demons appeared out of nowhere and attacked me. Out of nowhere, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. The golden Qilin nodded. Yes, I couldn't sense it at all. Maybe the Great Ruins is special and covered the primordial heavenly demon's aura. Lin Feng nodded. It was a complete simulation. The God Ruins had many mysteries. Bai Si and I were prepared to kill the 2 primordial heavenly demons, but we didn't expect 2 more to appear out of nowhere. The golden Qilin shook its head and said, Bai Si and I felt something was wrong and immediately fled, but 4 primordial heavenly demons chased after us, and then a fierce battle broke out, the golden Qilin explained. Originally, the 2 of them were evenly matched, but a 5th primordial heavenly demon appeared and broke the balance. Although the golden Qilin used its bloodline power and killed 2 of them, it couldn't turn the situation around. Bai Si was not as strong as the golden Qilin, and its defense was weak, so it died together with one of the primordial heavenly demons. After that, it was what he saw. Thank you, Brother Lin. The golden Qilin smiled weakly. If I die in the hands of these demons, it'll be a disgrace. It's nothing, Lin Feng said with a smile. The golden Qilin's eyes brightened. Brother Lin, why don't you come out later to take advantage of the situation? Don't you want to advance? I do, Lin Feng said, but there are many ways to advance, and it's not necessary to take advantage of others. After all, you and I know each other. Although Hua Shan is a hypocrite, it doesn't mean I'll be a real villain. Lin Feng smiled. Next time we meet, I won't hold back. The golden Qilin shook its head. There won't be a next time. Lin Feng didn't understand. The golden Qilin smiled with a pale face. Light flashed in its hand, and it threw it over. Shua! Shua! Lin Feng reached out and took it. His eyes couldn't help but light. 3 and 5 planets. I won't be able to recover my strength in a short period of time. Even 30% will be difficult. The golden Qilin said, You should know that this is only a part of the simulated land of extremists. It's not big. I can't drag it out until the time limit is up. Instead of benefiting the other contestants, I might as well give it to you. At least, the golden Qilin smiled at Lin Feng. I'm returning a favor. Without waiting for Lin Feng's reply, the golden Qilin transformed into a beam of white light and left the divine spirit ruins. Lin Feng sighed. You really are a man. Lin Feng's impression of the golden Qilin wasn't bad. Otherwise, he wouldn't have saved him. However, he really didn't expect him to give him a planet. It was indeed unexpected. Does this count as good karma? Lin Feng couldn't help smiling. Ice crystal, sacred land. Everyone was in an uproar. The faces of the captains who were criticizing Lin Feng for being lenient turned green. Who would have thought that the golden Qilin would give up on its own accord? Wow, Brother Lin got 11 points. Yi Xiao was extremely excited. Our chances of advancing have greatly increased. Shimanzi was also very happy. Isn't Big Brother Lin ranked first in the first group? Blowing Snow asked. Yes, Brother Lin is super strong. Yi Xiao clenched his fists. Apart from taking first place in the group, stars don't have much use. Wu Dao Zi said. In this small, simulated land of extremists, it's too hard to be alone. Unless you're as good at hiding as the Earthwalkers, you're destined to run into each other. I believe that before the time limit is up, there will be 3 people left who will advance. Before he finished speaking, there was an uproar around them. Wu Daozi glanced over. There, it's only been 6 hours, and there are only 4 people left in the 4th group. It was extremely intense. The great ruins, the strange tunnel, Lin Feng didn't leave. Instead, his gaze focused on a natural danger zone that the golden Qilin spoke of. He was deep in thought. There had to be a reason for everything. My stars are now 11, and the others are now 11. Lin Feng nodded. If we drag it out until the time limit is up, it means that there will be at least 4 people left. Unless we fight in pairs and don't run into each other in the end, I won't be able to fall to 4th place. As long as one person obtains 3 planets, I'll be 3rd. The possibility of advancing is quite high. Lin Feng smiled and let it pass. Plans could never keep up with changes. The idea was indeed good, but in this small, simulated land of extremists, to drag it out until the time limit was up was easier said than done. There are pros and cons. Lin Feng held Black Tortoise in his hand and walked toward the danger zone that the golden Qilin spoke of. Xiang Hu Shan Xing said, With my current strength, I don't have the confidence to take down any of the 5 elite commanders. Rather than that, I might as well go deep into the natural danger zone and protect myself. The natural danger zone wasn't necessarily bad for him, because for the other participants, it was also a place of death. Whoosh! Pa! The 4 symbols roared. An array of light rose in the sky. A man with thick eyebrows and white hair walked out of the array. He didn't look old, but he gave people a feeling of vicissitudes of life. 2nd seed, Li Jun. 15 points. Li Jun held a 6th planet in his hand, which belonged to Severed Hand. Looking around, Li Jun murmured, It took 6 hours to hunt the first prey. My luck doesn't seem to be very good. Different from the other strong people who took the initiative to attack, Li Jun instead waited for the prey to jump in one by one. Although he only killed Severed Hand, Li Jun's current stars were actually enough to advance. It's still early, let's wait a little longer. Li Jun turned around and entered the four symbols array again. Great ruins. Lin Feng stepped in and swept his gaze across the area. If the ruins outside were piled up and restored, it would be a metal building, then the ruins here would be a large-scale town. For Lin Feng, who lived in the high-tech era of Earth, it was actually not unfamiliar. An ancient civilization like Earth? Lin Feng pondered. God ruins? To be precise, it should be the ruins of an ancient civilization. Lin Feng wasn't surprised. Since there was life on Nemo, it was naturally possible that there was an ancient civilization. Earth also left behind sacred relics like the pyramids and the Great Wall. However, there was no ancient civilization like this huge ruin in front of him. The civilization here was also different from the ancient civilization on Earth. Legend has it that the human strong people obtained many treasures in the god ruins. No wonder. Lin Feng nodded. Obviously, the ancient civilization in the god ruins was very powerful. If I have a chance, I must go to the real god ruins. Lin Feng was looking forward to it and sighed. Instantly, he felt a special energy fluctuation. Not far ahead. This is the strange passage that the Golden Kyla mentioned. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Chapter 796. Lin Feng was curious. As he slowly walked forward, a unique energy wave enveloped this strange tunnel. This was a trapezoid-shaped tunnel. The entrance was about 10 meters tall and dozens of meters wide. However, the further one went, the wider and higher the tunnel became. Lin Feng floated in midair and looked into the distance. It was like a constantly expanding dragon tunnel that led to an unknown world. So, Lin Feng's figure flashed past at an extremely fast speed. His aura probed the surroundings. Lin Feng walked straight along the trapezoid-shaped tunnel. The tunnel's exterior was made of a strange metal structure. It looked like a foam pipe, but it had a metallic luster and was very elastic. It was like a soft metal made of mercury that could withstand extreme pressure. The further one went, the bigger the trapezoid-shaped tunnel became. The tunnel's width and height reached nearly 10,000 meters. It was like a huge monster. That's it. Lin Feng touched a light wall at the end. He had seen it before. This was the border of the divine spirit ruins. To be precise, it was the end of the simulated divine spirit ruins. However, the trapezoid-shaped tunnel had not reached its end. It continued to extend as though it was endless. Does this really exist? Lin Feng was very curious. He could not see the uniqueness of the trapezoid-shaped tunnel from the outside. He would only know if he went deep inside. Lin Feng was not in a hurry to succeed. He continued to probe the ruins. The Golden Shilin had said that the White Ram Army Lord had set up a natural danger zone in every danger zone. This was the most dangerous place in the divine spirit ruins. He had not met any primordial heavenly demon or heaven fae the arch along the way. This strange place is like the end. Lin Feng was rather surprised. Logically speaking, even if there were no primordial heavenly demon or heaven fae the arch, there should be some demonic creatures or essence with spirits. However, in reality, other than the ruins, this was a barren land. Of course, there was also the trapezoid-shaped tunnel. There must be a problem there. Lin Feng was alarmed. Unless the Golden Shilin's judgment was wrong, there had to be a secret in this abnormal ruins. The key to the secret was most likely the trapezoid-shaped tunnel. With that thought in mind, Lin Feng had already made up his mind. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Since the Golden Shilin could escape through the passage, Lin Feng was naturally confident that he could do the same. I'd like to see this primordial sky fiend that appeared out of nowhere. What's going on? Other than being curious, Lin Feng also had his own plans. The great ruins seemed mysterious and huge, but in reality, there was no natural barrier to defend against, nor was there any geographical advantage. If he couldn't make use of it, what was the point of staying here? Time. Lin Feng entered. Zzz, the energy fluctuated violently. Lin Feng held Black's skeleton and cautiously moved forward. The entrance wasn't big, so if there was a fight, there would be no place to hide. Fortunately, nothing unforeseen happened until he had completely entered it. It was like a broad road, flat and smooth. The more it was like this, the more Lin Feng did not dare to be careless. The calm before the storm. Lin Feng didn't doubt the Golden Qilin's words at all. He had no reason to lie to him. The deeper they went, the more peculiar Lin Feng felt. The passageway was not as dark as he had imagined. Instead, there was light. The surrounding strange metal was emitting light. Although it wasn't very bright, it covered every corner and was enough to illuminate the entire sealed passageway. Ta-ta! The sound of footsteps echoed. The entire passageway was incomparably spacious, and there was nothing else inside. Lin Feng cautiously moved forward step by step, slowly going deeper. Unknowingly, he had walked for a long time. The path ahead was getting brighter and brighter, and the terrain was getting wider. "I'm almost halfway there," Lin Feng muttered. The passageway was filled with a feeling of an impending storm. Lin Feng's hand, holding Black's skeleton, immediately tightened. In an instant, an indescribable palpitation appeared in his heart. It was very weak. It was like a ripple, but to Lin Feng, who had always been vigilant, he could clearly feel it. Light flashed in his hand, and 4 planets appeared. 2 planets were emitting a strange light. This is... Lin Feng's heart was moved, but he didn't have time to think. The strange energy fluctuation suddenly intensified, and the passageway trembled slightly. Not far away, the 2 energies continued to increase. Vaguely, Lin Feng understood. That was because the dark energy had clearly appeared. In this empty passageway, even the slightest energy fluctuation could be felt, let alone the dark energy. Whoosh, whoosh. As the light of 2 planets flashed like fireworks, 2 primordial heavenly demons suddenly appeared in front of him. They were almost the same as the 2 that the Golden Qilin had fought previously, but these 2 were in peak condition. They're here indeed. Lin Feng was already prepared. The peaceful nether holy qi suddenly exploded. The ultimate grade was like a divine weapon, bursting with valiant power. Lin Feng's blade whirled, rapidly covered the area, but the 2 primordial heavenly demons were not restricted at all. Their strength realm was also very strong. Take one first. Lin Feng's fighting spirit was awe-inspiring. In the ice crystal sacred realm, there was no longer any doubt about Lin Feng's strength. Previously, although Lin Feng fought against 2 and killed 2 primordial heavenly demons, it was a ready-made advantage of him. The 2 primordial heavenly demons that had been severely injured by the Golden Qilin were not even comparable to a normal peak condition. But now it was an open battle. Although they are primordial heavenly demons without true consciousness, they are still comparable to a weak elite commander. And there are 2 of them. A normal ace commander would definitely lose. Previously, Bai Si fought against 2 alone and lost miserably. Looks like Lin Feng's strength is much stronger than Bai Si's. He should be about the same as the Golden Qilin. The 9th seed underestimated him. He should be at least the 7th seed. Everyone was discussing. Shimanzi and the other 3 were all delighted. So impressive. Brother Lin fought against 2 alone and killed one of them in such a short time. Yixia was jumping with excitement. Brother Lin's blade technique realm is getting stronger and stronger. It's approaching the peak of the 1st tier. Shueishu said. He has the advantage. He's much stronger than the Golden Qilin. Previously, the Golden Qilin and Bai Si had fought against 2 alone. Bai Si was at a disadvantage. Before the Golden Qilin bloodline exploded, they were evenly matched. But now, Lin Feng fought against 2 alone and had the advantage. Saint Qi counters each other, Wu Daozi said. Lin Feng's Saint Qi counters the primordial heavenly demons. It has the effect of light energy. It's almost over. Shimanzi smiled and murmured, but why did the Golden Qilin and Bai Si meet 4 primordial heavenly demons, and then 5 in the end, but Lin Feng only met 2? Because the Golden Qilin and Bai Si are 2 people? Yixia said. Maybe. Shueishu nodded. At this time, there were cries of surprise. Above the ice crystal, Lin Feng had killed the second primordial heavenly demon with one strike. Brother Lin won, Yi Xia said excitedly. Wait, Wu Daozi's expression changed. He pointed at the ice crystal. Look, everyone's eyes widened. To be continued. Chapter 797. It was a medal. The bronze medal had a sword of glory engraved on it. Under the sword was the head of a demon. It was the symbol of the Glory Alliance, and it was meant to slay demons. Military medal. Lin Feng was also surprised. Although it was the first time he had seen it, he had heard of it. Military medals were given by the Glory Alliance to human experts with outstanding military achievements. It represented glory and status. Military medals were not only a symbol of one's status, but they also had many uses. Among them, the most popular one was to exchange for them. Military medals could be exchanged for treasures in the Glory Treasury. With the Glory Star Ring, one could enter the first 4 levels of the Glory Treasury. During the Battle of Glory Star, Lin Feng had entered to exchange for it. Compared to military medals, the Glory Star Ring was much easier to obtain. One could obtain all kinds of rewards, including exchanging for military achievements. However, the Glory Star Ring could only allow one to enter the 4th level. But military medals were different. Even the worst 3rd-grade military medal could allow one to enter the 3rd level of the Glory Treasury. Lin Feng had entered during the Battle of Glory Star in exchange for a high-grade Heart of Glory. 2nd-grade military medals allowed one to enter the 4th level of the Glory Treasury. 1st-grade military medals allowed one to enter the 5th level of the Glory Treasury. 3rd-grade military medal. Lin Feng looked at the medal in his hand. In the first round, the first place of the 6 groups would be rewarded with medals. It was promised by the White Ram General. It's over? Lin Feng was startled and shook his head. If it ended now, it meant that only 3 people were left. However, he only had 11 stars. It was impossible for him to be first. Lin Feng's heart moved. A light flashed. At this time, the 2-star star had completely dimmed, as if it had lost its energy. I understand. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. No wonder when he entered, he felt a strange energy that was inexplicably attracting him. It was the planet's fault. So, it's because of the planet that the primordial heavenly demons appeared. Lin Feng looked ahead and thought, mine is a 2-star star, so 2 primordial heavenly demons appeared. The golden Qilin has a 5-star star, so 5 primordial heavenly demons appeared. That's not right. Then why didn't the golden Qilin obtain any rewards after killing the 5 primordial heavenly demons? Lin Feng muttered. It's because it left the passage. You can't get it? Lin Feng looked at the golden Qilin's 5 stars. It was no different from Baixi's 3 stars and Huoshan's 1 star. They were all in a normal state. Only his star was completely dim. In other words, the 5 stars of the golden Qilin were not used. It could also be because the 5 primordial heavenly demons were not killed by the golden Qilin itself. Lin Feng pondered for a moment, but could not come up with an answer. However, it was undeniable that he had profited greatly. Although it was only the lowest 3rd-class military medal, he could still enter the 3rd level of the Glory Treasury and choose a high-grade heaven tier holy treasure for free. Starting from 1,000 battle merits, one could often reach as high as 4,000, 5,000 battle merits. He continued probing. Lin Feng was naturally daring. To him, the 2 primordial heavenly devils were completely within his acceptable range. If he could continue to obtain military medals, he would have profited greatly. However, this time, he walked to the end, but nothing happened. Is it because my 2-star planet has lost its energy? Lin Feng looked around carefully. Check out all the possible traps that might exist. The only thing he knew was that the faint connection between him and the passageway had disappeared. Clearly, it was because of the 2-star planet. It seems that each participant only has 1 chance. 2-star planet against 2 primordial heavenly demons, 5-star planet against 5, and if it's 10-star planet, I'll probably have to deal with 10. Lin Feng secretly praised his luck. If he were to rank them according to his true strength, he should be ranked 5th or 6th below the golden Qilin. It could be 4 or 5 primordial heavenly demons. It's impossible. Lin Feng knew his strength very well. The number of stars meant that one was strong. The difficulty of the challenge was naturally high. The golden Qilin had by C's help, but it was still outnumbered, let alone him. Here, it was the weak who took advantage. He had encountered 2 primordial heavenly demons. If it were Huashan, he would probably only have to deal with one of them. But if Hong Bao came to challenge him, 10 primordial heavenly demons, and definitely not primordial heavenly demons with ordinary bloodlines, Lin Feng said. The trapezoidal passageway is divided into 2 sections, the front half and the back half. In the middle and at the end, there are 2 places with especially strong energy fluctuations. Lin Feng carefully explored the trapezoidal passageway and concluded, if I'm not wrong, not all participants will trigger a star in the middle. It could also be at the end. The energy fluctuations are not only strong there. The primordial heavenly demon that appears is very strong, and it might be rewarded. It will also be better. Lin Feng looked forward to it. However, he was like a housewife who couldn't cook without rice. There was nothing he could do. The other stars had no fluctuations at all, as if they were asleep. Clearly, to complete the challenge and obtain the reward, the first requirement was to be the person. Only the person would trigger the star effect. If Hong Bao came, he wouldn't be given the same challenge as me. If it was Huashan, he wouldn't be given the chance to deal with 8 or 9 primordial heavenly demons. This was the meaning of being the person. Although I can't get the reward, a third-class military medal is worth the ticket price. Most importantly, Lin Feng stood at the end of the trapezoidal passageway, smiling. I found an excellent place to hide. He would not be affected, but if other experts entered, it would attract the primordial heavenly demon. Safely spend the remaining 18 hours. Lin Feng gently stroked the body of the black skeleton sword. Clang! The black skeleton sword towered. Lin Feng began to practice the sword out of boredom. Ice crystal sacred land. So despicable. Hiding there, whoever comes in will die. The primordial heavenly demon alone is enough to make them suffer. Lin Feng is really cunning. That's because he's smart. Not all contestants are like Hong Bao and Li Jun, who can search for opponents without any scruples. There are only Hong Bao, Li Jun, He Yin, and Earthwalker left in Group 1. Which one can Lin Feng win? Everyone was in heated discussion, with both praise and criticism. But no matter how they evaluated, Lin Feng's choice was very wise. What's the ranking of the first group now? Yixia asked anxiously. Li Jun is the highest. After killing Armbreaker, he has 15 stars. Ranked second is Lin Feng. TSK. Amazing. Wu Dao Z sighed endlessly. Hong Bao and He Yin didn't get any points. They got 10 points and 8 points respectively. Earthwalker killed Jinjiu, so his star score is now 11 points. He is ranked third under Lin Feng. So, Lin Feng only needs to drag it out until the end of the time limit. Then he can directly advance? Shi Manzi asked. That's right. Wu Daozi smiled. The current situation is extremely good for Lin Feng. As long as he can hold on until the end of the time limit, it will be a success. Everyone nodded, their eyes full of expectation. Chapter 798. Oh, another one. Li Jun raised his eyebrows. Sitting cross-legged in the Four Guardians formation, he slowly stood up. Holy Qi energy burst out from his hand, and the Four Guardians formation seemed to be ignited. With a loud rumble, the entire land it encompassed seemed to be clamped by golden hoops. The earth cracked violently and turned into dust. At this time, the Earthwalker who was searching for prey underground was stunned. The entire space was completely bound. The four symbols' great formation covered the area from top to bottom, including the underground. The Earthwalker's face was pale, and the expression in his eyes changed rapidly. He clenched his fists. Damn it! Why did I run into him? To the Earthwalker, he would rather meet Hong Bao than Li Jun. Li Jun's formation completely restrained him. Fight! With a strong restriction, the Earthwalker was like a turtle in a jar. There was no way out. He could only fight to the end. The ice crystals and holy crystals were in an uproar. What a pity! Yes, the Earthwalker actually had the best location, but he met his nemesis. The Legion outside can only use 30% of his strength. The Legion inside. Even Hong Bao would lose a layer of skin if he entered. Even if he used his bloodline power, the Earthwalker would not be able to harm Legion at all. The difference in strength is too great. Everyone felt pity. Indeed, in this small, simulated land, the Earthwalker's advantage was obvious. Unfortunately, time was not on his side, and he was eventually eliminated. Even if he enters the second round, he will only be cannon fodder. Wu Daozi said, "The rules set by the White Ram Army are most beneficial to the strong." Shueishiwa said, "The Earthwalker lost because he was not strong enough. There are only 4 people left." Yixia clenched his fists. "Eliminate one more." Shimanzi smiled. "Lin Feng will be able to enter the second round. There's a high chance." Everyone nodded. The Earthwalker's defeat was undoubtedly good news for Lin Feng. Time passed slowly. The 4th group was the fastest to determine the winner. Qin Tiansheng defeated 5 people in a row and used his absolute strength to rule the 4th group. He polished his title as the strongest military lieutenant and took first place with 38 stars. The other was the 2nd seed, Huang Momo. Qianhe's luck was not bad. He killed a participant and advanced with only 5 stars. Next, the 3rd group was also settled. With Ma Yingjie as the leader, the top 3 seeds smoothly advanced without any dark horse appearing. In the blink of an eye, 12 hours had passed, and the top 3 of the 6th group had been decided. Although Yi Shuhang was a reserve member of the Glory team and had excellent potential and bloodline, the qualification for the Path of Glory depended on combat strength after all. He was unable to advance. At this time, the 1st group had entered the final climax. The unlucky Hong Bao finally met his 3rd opponent after the Earthwalker and Lin Feng. 3 types of seeds. Black flames. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook and the sky shook. Hong Bao attacked wildly with the thunder hammer in his hand. His steel body was as strong as a demon's. His powerful attack made He Yin unable to fight back. The netherworld fire Holy Qi was scattered by the thunder hammer. Bang! Black Flame grunted as he was knocked back by the Thunderfall hammer. His entire left arm was smashed to smithereens. Faced with Hong Bao's unreasonable attack, He Yin had no way to deal with it. It was too terrifying. He was the first among the elite commanders. This was Hong Bao's terrifying combat strength. It was even comparable to the 3 great trump card commanders. Faced with such an opponent, fear appeared in He Yan's eyes. He gritted his teeth and couldn't care less. His whole body lit up with a red light. He Yin fled frantically. Every elite commander who could survive until now basically had a trump card, especially when it came to escaping. "Where are you going?" Hong Bao roared angrily. "Qi! Clang!" In the passage, sword Qi condensed. Lin Feng held the black skeleton and was honing his swordsmanship. He benefited a lot from the battle with the Earthwalker, especially the Earthwalker's Earthworld, which was an eye-opener for him. He integrated the power of the Earth into it and matched it with his own bloodline. This level of power was extremely powerful. It's very difficult to integrate the power of the remote Taiyu star. Maybe I could try to integrate one of the heaven and earth energies step by step. But how can I integrate it? Lin Feng had no clue. He kept practicing and attacking, simulating the battle with the Earthwalker, trying to figure out the secrets of the Earthwalker's Earthworld. However, it was like 2 completely different individuals. Although they were the same level of power, he was at a loss to forcibly integrate them. Phew, it's very difficult. Lin Feng sheathed his sword. The Blade World was a pure sword. It was the evolution of the sword will and was compatible with the heaven and earth energy. There was indeed a possibility. After all, the Earthwalker's Earthworld was still vivid in his mind. However, it's because he has the Earth Bowl bloodline. His body is like a part of the Earth. Lin Feng clearly remembered what was written in the information book. Compared to his own understanding of the heaven and earth energy, the Earthwalker was obviously more talented in this aspect. My bloodline talent, Lin Feng frowned. He also had a whirlpool body, but the whirlpool body and the Blade World were even more different individuals. Actually, why do I have to integrate the heaven and earth energy with it? They're all individual energy bodies. How can light, thunder, and darkness compare to the true dragon star? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. His true dragon source point was a true peerless grade. It was already so powerful without integrating a single energy. Most importantly, the true dragon saint power was ethereal and formless. Its compatibility was quite strong. Light, thunder, darkness, and other heaven and earth energy were like physical objects. However, the saint power was formless. It was like a person's mind and spiritual power. Moreover, the power level is a kind of force. World of blade, world of sword, world of earth, and so on. They're all a form of pressure and mental restraint. They're actually very similar to the power of saint energy. If I can integrate the true dragon saint power with the blade world, its power will definitely surpass the Earthwalker's Earth world. That's it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Black Tongue rose again, and the black dragon soared into the sky. Bang! His footsteps were as heavy as 1,000 pounds. What the hell is this place? Hong Bao held a giant hammer and entered the passage with a puzzled expression. Black Flame, you bastard, get out here. Cowardly bandit. Hong Bao's voice thundered. With disdain in his eyes, Hong Bao walked forward proudly with his giant hammer mixed with thunder and lightning. The passage ahead was getting wider and wider. However, he did not see Black Flame. Hong Bao hid his anger and searched everywhere. Come out, Black Flame. You coward! Fight me face to face if you have the guts. I'll beat your ass until it blossoms. Hong Bao shouted and walked forward. The further in they went, the more they felt a huge wave of energy coming from the front. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Primordial heavenly demons appeared out of thin air and blocked Hong Bao, roaring ferociously. Chapter 799. Idiot, you only have strength, but no brains. He Yin sneered. At this moment, his body seemed to be burning as it strangely split into three. The three black fire shadows were very similar to He Yin. As they overlapped, they merged back into one. He Yin was wearing a black flame armor. His angular face was like that of a male lion. He revealed a disdainful expression. Every danger zone has a natural barrier. No matter how strong you are, Hong Bao, you will not be able to come out. He Yin's figure flashed and left. At this moment, the battle in the tunnel was very intense. Hong Bao was not at a disadvantage at all when fighting 1 against 6. His enlarged body was like an ancient beast. His blood vessels were bulging like a monster. His thunder mist hammer was mixed with the power of thunder and lightning. He was like a thunder god descending to the mortal world. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. The 6 primordial sky demons were different from the 2 that Lin Feng was fighting. Just like Nirvana realm cultivators, there was a big difference between an elite soldier and an ace soldier. Even though they were covered in wounds from Hong Bao's attacks, and some were even badly mutilated, they still attacked crazily as if they did not know pain. They would not stop until they were dead. At this moment, shwa, another 2 rays of light gathered. In the blink of an eye, the 7th and 8th primordial sky demons appeared. Instantly, 2 weights were added to the originally stable balance. 2 peak primordial sky demons appeared and changed the direction of the battle. Damn it! Hong Bao's bloodline power was completely unleashed. Damn demons, I will fight it out with you. Bathed in blood, Hong Bao used all his power. However, 1 against 8, even for the 3 ace commanders, it was not an easy task. These primeval heavenly demons did not have consciousness, but their physical bodies and bloodline were very strong. They did not fear death and continued to charge forward. They had the absolute advantage in numbers. Pung, pung. Hong Bao suffered one setback after another as more wounds appeared on his body. Hong Bao's body trembled as he roared towards the sky. The thunder mist hammer was fully unleashed. He was hysterical. However, this was like an arrow at the end of its flight. It was only delaying the time of defeat. The most terrifying thing was that 8 primordial sky demons was not the final number. There was still more. The 9th and 10th. Hong Bao's blood vessels were everywhere. His eyes were wide open like lanterns. Although he had always been full of confidence, he knew that the current situation had reached a point where there was only a slim chance of survival. There were a total of 10 primordial heavenly demons, and each of them was as powerful as an elite commander. I'm Hongbao, Glory's strongest elite army commander, can't even pass the first round. Hongbao trembled. It was an unprecedented crisis. If he lost in the first round, he would become a joke. But now clang. An unfamiliar yet powerful force broke the silence. The frighteningly sharp saber move brought with it a strong, binding pressure. There seemed to be a golden dragon roaring in the void, sweeping away the two newly appeared primordial heavenly demons like a tornado. Not only that, it also affected the other 8 primordial heavenly demons that were attacking him. Hongbao defended against the next joint attack. His eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief as he looked into the distance. It's him. How could it be him? Don't be in a daze. Lord Hong. Lin Feng slashed down with his saber. Lin Feng's laughter was accompanied by the rumbling of the saber world. His true dragon holy power was added to the saber world. At this moment, the saber world had an additional layer of solid color. The golden color reflected the shape of a dragon. Lin Feng's saber rose into the air and slashed down instantly. Its power was overwhelming and boundless. Good. Hong Bao's fighting spirit was also aroused. Lin Feng's reinforcement and his impressive fighting strength made Hong Bao want to live again. With a loud roar, his body expanded once again. Hong Bao was also fighting with his life on the line. If he gave it his all, even if he couldn't win, he wouldn't die in such a cowardly manner. Kill one, earn one. Hong Bao's veins were bulging, but he was still laughing maniacally. Hong Bao and the primordial heavenly demons were fighting fiercely. How could Lin Feng not be alarmed? However, he was just watching from the sidelines and didn't interfere. He saw that Hong Bao was gradually losing. Just as he predicted, Hong Bao, who controlled 10 planets, was facing the toughest test. The encirclement of 10 primordial heavenly demons. Not saving him was righteous. Saving him, benevolence. In the end, Lin Feng still made a move because he still owed Hong Bao in his heart. The new saber world is very strong. Lin Feng used it in actual combat for the first time and felt the power of the new saber world. Although the true dragon holy power was still unable to merge with the saber world, they were compatible with each other, just like the normal fusion of source points. Even now, it was not inferior to the Earthwalker's Earth world. Actual combat is the best comprehension. Lin Feng raised his saber and slashed down, facing 2 primordial heavenly demons. These 2 were much stronger than the 2 he had dealt with before, but with the new saber world, Lin Feng still had the absolute initiative. Attack! Attack again! Comprehending through the continuous attacks, Lin Feng broke in the new saber world. Oh, another one. Li Jun, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, suddenly raised his eyebrows. He slowly stood up, and his eyes flashed. Li Jun's slightly white hair moved with the wind. He raised his hand and activated the array. The roars of the 4 elephants surrounded the sky, and the entire area shook. At this time, He Yin, who was not far away, was pale and panicked. He had just felt the existence of Li Jun, but it was too late. Like a prey that had fallen into a hunter's trap, he had just left the tiger's den and entered the wolf's mouth. Li Jun! He Yin was hysterical, and his black flames lit up the sky. I'm not done with you. At this time, Hong Bao was on the verge of death. Although Lin Feng had taken away 2 of the primordial heavenly demons, the remaining 8 were not to be trifled with. They kept attacking and injuring Hong Bao. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands, not to mention 8 hands. There was only an opportunity when there was danger. The White Ram army had set a high reward. How could it be so easy to pass? Only Lin Feng could break through, but he would only get a 3rd-class military merit medal. But if Hong Bao could personally defeat 10 primordial heavenly demons, then he would get a 1st-class military merit medal. Unfortunately, Hong Bao's strength was still 1 level lower. Pong! Lin Feng's blade whirled rose again, and the golden dragon roared in the staircase tunnel. Every time they clashed, Lin Feng's blade world was improving. The true dragon, Saint Chi, was slowly merging with the blade world. The whirlpool circulated, and the huge beast in the depths of his body seemed to be slowly opening its eyes. Lin Feng gradually gained the upper hand. But at this time, Hong Bao was already on the verge of collapse. He only defended and did not attack, entering a completely defensive state. Just as he was about to be torn into pieces by the primordial heavenly demons, suddenly, pa! One by one, the primordial heavenly demons turned into nothingness. The heavily injured Hong Bao was confused and did not know what had happened. Lin Feng also woke up from his battle state. He looked in front of him and saw that there was not a single primordial heavenly demon around Hong Bao. Suddenly, Lin Feng understood everything and smiled. He had finally advanced. Chapter 800. Ice Crystal, Sacred Realm. Yeah, that's great. Yixia jumped up excitedly. Brother Lin really likes to meddle in other people's business. He even saved Hong Bao. Wu Daozi shook his head. Shi Manzi smiled charmingly. Because he doesn't like to owe people favors. Wu Daozi said, fortunately, if the other primordial sky demons rushed to him, Brother Lin might be eliminated. Even so, Brother Lin won't regret it. Blowing Snow said affirmatively. If he cares about gains and losses, he won't be Lin Feng. Shi Manzi smiled charmingly. She knew Lin Feng too well. Helping Yixia help her, Lin Feng didn't ask for anything in return. He just wanted to do things with a clear conscience. Looking at the figure on the ice crystal, Shi Manzi's beautiful eyes were full of gentleness. Lin Feng has advanced. Lightman nodded in satisfaction. It was an unexpected result. Although he had a high opinion of Lin Feng, Lightman didn't think that Lin Feng could enter the second round. But now, the truth was in front of him. He was lucky. Mengming's red lips curled up. If Li Jun had acted a little later, Lin Feng and Hong Bao might have died at the hands of the primordial sky demons. There was still some unwillingness in her voice, but it was like a child's fighting spirit. Lightman couldn't help but smile. Captain, Mengming suddenly blushed. Lightman looked at Mengming. He will soon become a member of our first glory team. You are the vice captain, do you know? I know. Mengming pouted. Lightman nodded and then looked at Goddess Wakaman. What do you think? He is improving very quickly, Goddess Wakaman said softly. Lightman smiled. You and Mengming will both participate in the second round of the qualifiers. It is very likely that you will meet Lin Feng. Mengming was very pleased. She rubbed her hands together as if she couldn't wait to meet Lin Feng. I hope we don't meet. Goddess Wakaman looked at the ice crystal with an indescribable emotion. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Li Jun, Lin Feng, and Hong Bao suddenly appeared. There were already many familiar figures in the surroundings. A.O. Lai, Yi Shuheng, Lung Yuqing, and the Golden Qilin. I see. Lin Feng glanced over and smiled. There was no doubt that he had been forcibly sent out of the divine ruins. The first group, Li Jun, 34 points. Lin Feng, 11 points. Hong Bao, 10 points advance. The chief of the White Ram Legion was expressionless. A third-class military medal was thrown out. Li Jun raised his hand and accepted it. Thank you, Commander. The chief of the White Ram Army nodded his head disapprovingly. His gaze swept over and landed on Lin Feng. You've gained an advantage. Lin Feng smiled. Naturally, he understood what the White Ram military lord meant. What he meant was that his ranking should be higher, perhaps 4 or 5 stars. That way, when he entered that mysterious passageway to undergo the trial, the primordial heavenly devil he would have to face would be even stronger. Li Jun had obtained 34 points and only received a third-class military medal. As for himself, he had only killed 2 primordial heavenly devils and received the same treatment. Thank you, Commander. Lin Feng did not believe that the medal could appear out of thin air. Clearly, the White Ram military lord had given it to him in a different way. Hong Bao was confused and did not understand. Li Jun looked over thoughtfully. However, the White Ram military lord did not say anything else. Advancing in the first round did not mean anything. Every year, there would always be a few dark horses in the path of glory. It might be due to luck or miscalculation like Lin Feng. Also, Lin Feng was not the first to advance as a soldier. Aolai, who was not far away, looked disdainfully. The dragon mark on his neck was clear and ferocious. Lin Feng felt Aolai's fiery gaze but did not turn around. He had to be wary of Aolai. He might be from the Ao clan and might be unfavorable to him. Soon, the first round of the Path of Glory ended. It took a total of 15 hours. None of the groups lasted until the time limit was up. After all, the 6 simulated danger zones were about the same size. It was actually very fast to determine the remaining 3 in such a narrow area. There were basically no dark horses. Most of the people in each group advanced to the next round. There were only 3 people from the 6th to the 10th seeds: Qianhe, Aolai, and Lin Feng. No one in the first group got more than 40 points. The highest was Qin Tiansheng in the 4th group with 38 points. Li Jin's 36 points was the same as Ji Zhishuan in the 2nd group. You all disappoint me. The White Ram military lord's eyes were like an eagle's, cold and empty. None of you got a 2nd-class medal. Go back and prepare. Gather at the same place on the 1st day of September. The 2nd round will not be easy. After speaking, his gaze paused on Lin Feng. The White Ram military lord disappeared like smoke. The 18 people who advanced had serious expressions and clenched their fists secretly. The 2nd round. There was still 1 month left. Everyone quickly dispersed. Lin Feng and Yi Shuheng walked together, but they had already made an agreement beforehand. Congratulations to Brother Lin for advancing. Yi Shuheng waved the feather fan in his hand. Brother Yi seems very happy. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. Yi Shuheng seemed happier than him. Those who didn't know would think that he was the one who advanced. Of course, Yi Shuheng said. We are on the same side. I believe that Lord Lightman is also very happy. Including you, Lin Feng, 3 people from the first glory team can participate in the 2nd round. Our chances of entering the 3rd round have greatly increased. Lin Feng nodded. In the 2nd round, the 2 glory teams needed to participate except for the captains. The first glory team had 2 people, Vice Captain Meng Meng and Goddess Wakaman. The 2nd glory team had 5 people, Vice Captain Giant Kuei and members Chuan Xinho, Yu Gui, Black Impermanence, and Go Xinju. A total of 7 people. Including the 18 in the 1st round, 5 people would compete for the right to advance in the 3rd round. I wonder what the 2nd round will be like. Lin Feng was very curious. It will definitely be different from the previous rounds. Yi Shuheng said, last year it was a battle royale, and the year before that it was a group challenge. Yiwu Junju doesn't care about the competition for the right to enter the Path of Glory. He usually arranges it casually. According to him, those with strength won't be eliminated no matter what. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. That makes sense. Yi Shuheng shrugged. It's a pity that every year our Glory 7 Alliance will be defeated in the 12 Alliance Showdown. Lin Feng nodded. That's why the White Ram Army is hosting this year. The White Ram Army is more meticulous, and there are rewards. This is quite good, Yi Shuheng said. Yi Shuheng said, perhaps the White Ram Army's commander doesn't care about 3rd and 2nd-class medals, but to us, there are good things that can increase our combat strength. Yes, Lin Feng agreed. His 3rd-class medal could be exchanged for a high-grade heaven-tier holy treasure in the Glory Treasury. It was enough to make up for his weakness. This way, please, Brother Lin. I believe the captain is already waiting for us. Yi Shuheng smiled. The captain will be very happy to see you promoted. With the captain's guidance, Brother Lin, it's very likely that you will comprehend the perfect, profound meaning, holy light, before the 2nd round begins. Thank you for your kind words. Lin Feng smiled. Chapter 801. Glory's First Team's Base. Captain, Yi Shuheng shouted valiantly. Lin Feng and Yi Shuheng walked side by side as they surveyed the surroundings of the base. The area was quite large, and everything was available. Glory members didn't have individual accommodations, so they were divided into teams. Even Ao Lai and Yi Shuheng, The two reserve members had clear accommodations. Glory's second team's base was directly opposite. It seemed to be done on purpose to make the two teams compete with each other. Only with competition can there be improvement. Lin Feng understood. He followed Yi Shuhang into the hall. The decorations weren't extravagant. It was simple and clean, without a speck of dust. At the end of the hall, there were 3 figures, one male and one female, in the main seat. It was Captain Lightman and Vice Captain Meng Meng. Lin Feng hadn't seen Meng Meng before, but he had heard Yi Shuhang mention her. She was petite, had neat bangs, and a face that seemed to have been sculpted. It explained another kind of female beauty. And the back of the guest seat was very familiar. Swish! Following Yi Shuhang's shout, the 3 couldn't help but look over. That back turned his head halfway. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. No wonder he was so familiar. He had seen him in the first round of the Glory Road qualification competition. Qin Tiansheng. He had the highest number of stars in the first round, and his strength was comparable to the strongest commander in the elite army. Azure Dragon's captain, with a combat strength of 7,780 points, very close to the 8,000 points needed to enter Glory's team. Why was he here? A question mark appeared in Lin Feng's mind, just like the question in Qin Tiansheng's mind. Qin Tiansheng also paid attention to Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng had passed the first round of selection as an ace soldier, which was quite rare in the history of ace armies. It's Lin Feng. Lightman stood up with a smile. Meng Meng glanced over, curiously sizing up Lin Feng. Sir Lightman, Vice Captain Meng Meng, Sir Qin. Lin Feng bowed politely. The Glory Alliance was like an army, with strict distinctions between superiors and subordinates. Come, make yourself at home. Lin Feng, take a seat. Lightman was very enthusiastic. His gaze fell on Qin Tiansheng as he nodded. I understand what you mean. I will discuss it with the other members. If there is a decision, I will inform you. Qin Tiansheng immediately stood up. Okay, Lord Guangnan, I'll go back first and wait for your good news. Even though Qin Tiansheng was one of the best in the Ace Army, he didn't dare show any disrespect to Light Guy, a super expert from one of the 7 alliances. Lightman nodded, and Qin Tiansheng left. His gaze lingered on Lin Feng for a moment, somewhat doubtful and somewhat fearful. Soon, there were only 4 people left in the hall. Lightman smiled at Lin Feng. I haven't congratulated you yet. You did well. Lin Feng, thank you for your praise. Lin Feng said, Lord Qin's performance is far better than mine. No, you're different from him. Lightman shook his head. It's natural for him to perform well. It's natural for him to pass the first round. With Qin Tiansheng's strength, there's an 80% chance of him entering the 3rd round. Lin Feng nodded. Qin Tiansheng's strength was obvious to all. Lightman's eyes flashed. Do you still remember the special recruitment slot I mentioned to you last time? Lin Feng nodded. Lord Qin came for that. Yes. Lightman's gaze fell outside the hall. Qin Tiansheng is indeed an outstanding talent. His combat strength is quite strong. I don't mind telling you that he came here this time to ask for the only special recruitment quota. The special recruitment quota could directly allow any military officer to enter the Glory Squad. For the Ace Army and the Elite Army, it was incomparably precious. It was like a carp leaping over the Dragon's Gate. Lord Qin's battle strength points are 7780. It's not far from 8000. Lin Feng was astonished. A mere 0 points shouldn't be hard to reach with a bit of effort. Brother Lin, you're wrong. Yi Shuhang shook his finger. Qin Tiansheng is already at the 9th level of the Ascended Saint stage. His bloodline has awakened a 2nd time. In other words, his battle strength points have already reached the peak of 2 categories. It seems like there's only a difference of 0 points, but in any one of those categories, it's 5 times 1,100 points. Qin Tiansheng's potential has already reached its peak. There might be a way to increase it by 100 points, but to increase it by 1,100 points, the possibility is no more than 5%. Lin Feng understood. Yi Shuhang was right. The higher the battle strength points, the harder it was to increase them. For example, in the Refining Heart realm, entering the last 6 paths of reincarnation, every path was a huge breakthrough in the heart. For example, in the Profound Meaning realm, Qin Tiansheng had already grasped the perfect, profound meaning. If he wanted to go one step further, he would need to obtain the recognition of the energy source. That was the key to the grand nirvana. Not everyone was as talented as Light Man. In the ascended saint stage, one would obtain the recognition of the energy source. In the entire glory's 7 alliances, Light Man was the only one. Even if you looked through the history of the 7 alliances, it was rare. In fact, most warriors couldn't even comprehend the perfect, profound meaning when they were in the ascended saint stage. The only thing that Qin Tiansheng could easily improve was his strongest attack. However, to increase it by 1,100 points was too difficult. Actually, I did consider Qin Tiansheng for this special recruitment quota, Light Man said. But after seeing you, I changed my mind. With your potential, Lin Feng, you can definitely increase your battle strength points to 8,000 points in half a year. Sir, you flatter me, Lin Feng said. The last time they met, Time Man had already mentioned that he shouldn't use the special recruitment quota as much as possible to avoid being ridiculed. You really don't want to consider Qin Tiansheng? Meng Ming's voice was very pleasant, crisp and soft. Light Man's eyes were bright. As long as he can pass the 3rd round of the Path of Glory qualification battle, the special recruitment quota will be given to him. Difficult. Meng Ming pursed her lips and muttered. Light Man didn't answer and looked at Lin Feng. I won't be biased. Lin Feng, you don't need the special recruitment quota, so I'll give you an extra reward. If you join the Glory team, you'll be given 10,000 points and a 3rd-class military medal. If you can reach 8,000 points in 4 months or pass the 3rd round of the Path of Glory qualification battle, you'll be given 30,000 points and a 2nd-class military medal. And if you can reach 8,000 combat power points within 2 months, or if you can advance to the Path of Glory's 12 alliances, you'll be given 100,000 points and a 1st-class military medal. Ace Corps territory. Captain, Lin Feng doesn't put us in his eyes at all. Huashan was furious. He doesn't care about his comrades and wants to kill us all. It's useless even if I tell him your name. Today, he can attack me. Captain, you won't be able to suppress this fiend in the future. I know. Qianhe gritted his teeth. He wasn't stupid. From the beginning, Lin Feng had never been nice to him. Captain? When did Lin Feng treat him as captain? We can't let him go like this anymore, Captain. Huashan's eyes were about to crack. It's time to teach him a lesson. Qianhe's eyes were cold, and his fingers were cracking. Taking advantage of the situation and then burning the bridge after crossing the river. It's not that easy. Let me teach him what it means to oppress people to death. Chapter 802. Territory 111. Not here. Qianhe frowned. Huashan was also shocked. Yes, masters. Butler Gongsun did his duty. Huashan was displeased. I advise you to tell the truth. The crime of lying can be big or small. In front of you is the leader of the Kuei squad, Master Qianhe. Even your master has to be respectful. Go inside and tell Lin Feng hiding is useless. I don't care about lying to you masters. Butler Gongsun said. Huashan wanted to say more, but Qianhe raised his hand and interrupted. Let me ask you, where did Lin Feng go? This. Butler Gongsun hesitated. As a butler, he could not casually reveal his master's whereabouts. Humph! Qianhe snorted. The pressure of a Saint Force cultivator made Gongsun's face pale, his body trembling and sweating profusely. I'll ask you again, is Lin Feng here? Qianhe's eyes were cold. Bang! Gongsun was unable to endure the pressure any longer, and he knelt on the ground while supporting himself with his hands. He was already completely exhausted and powerless. Even then, he was still unwilling to speak a single word because it was difficult to imagine that such a thin figure possessed such great strength. Hey! Huashan's eyes were filled with disdain, like master, like dog. Clap! 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 There was a clap, and Qianhe turned his head to look. Shimanzi, Wu Daozi, Yixia, and Shui Shui were walking over, and the one who clapped was Yixia. His eyes shone brightly as he laughed. Well said. Senior Qianhe really raised a good dog, ah. Huashan was stunned, then reacted. He was furious. What did you say? Isn't this Vice Leader Hua? Sorry, I didn't see you just now. We were just talking about Master Qian, he raising a good dog. Why did you jump out? Yi Xia was surprised. This made Hua Shan's face turn red. He was trembling in anger. Qian he raised his hand to stop Hua Shan and smiled at Yi Xia. I haven't seen you for a few days. Brother Yi has become so eloquent. As expected, people are in high spirits when it comes to happy events. It must be you and Zi Xian stuck together like glue. His smiling expression seemed harmless, but it directly attacked Yi Xia's heart. In an instant, Yi Xia's face turned green. Hua Shan chuckled and said, Speaking of which, I lost a pair of broken shoes a few days ago. What's interesting is, someone actually picked it up and wore it. TSK, TSK. Hua Shan. Yi Xia gnashed his teeth. Don't be impulsive. Shimanzi's gentle voice was like a gust of spring breeze. Flowers could prick people, but they could also save people. In terms of cultivation of saint energy, Qian He and Yi Xia were naturally the strongest. However, in terms of understanding of the heart, Shimanzi, who had already mastered the art of seduction, was the strongest. Whoosh! Yi Xia abruptly sobered up and felt extremely ashamed. I'm sorry. Sister Manzi. Humph. Qian expression was somewhat ugly. He had originally wanted to give Yi Xia a show of strength. Taking action within the Glory Alliance without permission was a serious crime. However, he did not want to be interrupted by Shimanzi. However, looking at the beautiful face that he yearned for day and night, he was unable to express his anger. He forced a smile and said, Manzi. Shimanzi's red dress fluttered as she lifted the housekeeper gong sun went up. I wonder why Sir Qian He is looking for Lin Feng so urgently. Qian He was somewhat speechless. Hua Shan raised his eyebrows. He hastily said, Our Kuei squad has a mission to carry out. You irrelevant people don't need to ask so much. Lin Feng is a member of the Kuei squad and should be under the captain's jurisdiction. We're looking for him because the squad needs to gather and carry out the mission. Yes, that's right. Qian He agreed. That's really unfortunate. Shimanzi smiled. As soon as the Path of Glory competition ended, Lin Feng was called by Sir Guangnan. Sir Guangnan? Qian He and Hua Shan were startled. Shimanzi nodded. If you want him, you can go directly to Lord Guangnan and ask for him. There's no need to make a ruckus here. Her calm voice caused Qian He and Hua Shan's faces to turn red as they cursed in their hearts. Ask Sir Guangnan for him? Other than the 3 ace commanders, who would have the guts? Qian He looked at Hua Shan. The latter was also frowning, obviously unable to do anything. Then when will Lin Feng return? Hua Shan braced himself and asked. Shimanzi smiled charmingly. Ask Sir Guangnan. Shua. Hua Shan's face was ashen, his mouth twitching. A misunderstanding. Qian He was an old fox after all. His reaction was quick. Brother Lin Feng being summoned by Sir Guangnan is truly a blessing. If we had known earlier, we wouldn't have made such a joke and wasted our trip. Shimanzi revealed a smile. Since that's the case, we'll come find Lin Feng another day. Qian He nodded to everyone. We'll take our leave first. Saying so, Qian He turned and left, the smile on his face turning into a vicious one. Let's see how long you can hide from Guangnan, Lin Feng. The first Glory Squad's camp. Watch carefully. I'll slow down and cast it again, Guangnan said with a serious expression. Guangnan was surrounded by a large sealed space. As his voice fell, Guangnan suddenly shouted, a drop of light appearing on his forehead like a drop of water, his divine power instantly exploding. Pung, pung, pung. An incomparably divine aura instantly filled the air. Lin Feng focused, not daring to miss a single detail as he stared at Guangnan, absorbing it like a sponge. Light source. In order to help him gain a deeper understanding, Guangnan not only used the profound meaning's divine light, he also used the next level of energy, not holding back at all. Just as Yi Shuhang had said, Guangnan was a very competent captain. This is light. Turn yourself into light. Light source. Dominating the divine light's divine power. Not only is it a great counter to darkness, but it can also increase the power of profound meaning from 1 to 100. With and without the energy source, the power of profound meaning is vastly different. Lin Feng had a deep impression of it. Guangnan's speed was not fast, but he knew all the secrets of the divine light. The current Guangnan's understanding of the divine light was much more thorough than 3 years ago. Like a teacher carefully teaching, Lin Feng quickly comprehended. Every movement of Guangnan appeared in his mind, and he combined them in his mind. Divine light. The key is the word divine. This is the true essence of the divine light. The nemesis of darkness, the nemesis of the devil race. Divine light does not focus on external power, but on the cultivation of the mind. Lord Guangnan's casting is from the inside out. It is indefinite and formless. It looks like an ordinary, perfect, profound meaning, but it makes it easier for the light source to display its power. This is the divine light. Lin Feng quickly sank into deep thought. No matter how long he looked at the divine light steal, it could not compare to a face-to-face demonstration. Guangnan did not speak, but it was enough, because Lin Feng had an epiphany. This is all I can help you with. Guangnan looked at Lin Feng. The rest will depend on your comprehension. Chapter 803. The Power of the Heart. The True Essence of Light. This is the divine light, the darkness that destroys everything. Lin Feng did have an epiphany, but he did not advance in the direction that Light Man thought. The insights recorded by Wei Fu on the divine light stone tablet describe his understanding of the path of light. Light Man directly used the power of the origin of light. Once was a direct exchange, and the other time was a face-to-face demonstration. For Lin Feng, it was like opening a door that led to the origin of light. Whether it's the top profound meaning, the perfect profound meaning, or even the fused profound meaning, they all have the origin of light as the center. Without light, there is no profound meaning of light. The reason why the divine light directly leads to the origin of light lies in this. There were only 2 images in Lin Feng's mind. One was the divine light stone tablet. All the information kept appearing like strings of code, overlapping and matching. It contained deep secrets. The other was the image of Light Man fighting with him. It kept replaying like a movie, looping over and over again. The origin of light and divine light fused together perfectly. A droplet-like radiance appeared on Light Man's forehead, gathering endless essence into his body. It was the existence of light, the true essence of light, the purest source of energy, the most fundamental power of light. Lin Feng was completely immersed in the world of light. The first round of the Path of Glory qualification battle ended. Some are happy, some are sad. As the most important event of the Glory Alliance, this was the best platform to measure the strength of each Glory soldier. The elite commanders who entered the second round were all eager to fight. They were about to face the challenges of 7 Glory members to enter the third round. It was very difficult. Only the strongest 10 people would advance from 25 to 10. Only then could they enter the third round. I must enter the third round and advance to the competition of the 12 alliances. Qin Tianxing's eyes were full of pride. He was desperately training himself in the training field. After receiving Light Man's reply, his fighting spirit was high. His initial fear of Lin Feng's sudden appearance turned into a strong fighting spirit. His fate was in his own hands. No matter who my opponent is, I will win. I will win. Qin Tianxing's saber was like a fierce tiger descending the mountain. The wind howled, proud as the sky. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. There is only half a month left until the second round of the competition on the 1st of September. In such a short period of time, there wouldn't be any major breakthroughs for those elite commanders. However, Li Jun and the others, who were ranked first and had received third-class military medals, had made some small improvements. Third-class military medal. They would be able to enter the Glory Treasury and choose a suitable high-grade Heaven-tier treasure. It was a little difficult to increase his combat strength, but it was good to make up for his weaknesses. Li Jun chose an attack-type Holy Treasure to support the formation. Great Wisdom King chose a control-type Holy Treasure to support the attack, Ma Jie chose a holy fruit that could directly increase one's battle strength. Basically, no one left behind a third-class military merit medal. They all turned it into an increase in battle strength, because they knew very well that so long as they were able to obtain victory in the second round, then it was very likely that the White Ram Army's commander would obtain even better rewards. At the same time, the 7 members of the Glory Squad were also preparing in full swing. Unlike those elite commanders, the members of the Glory Squad were in the Saint Ascension stage. Even if it was only for a month, his strength would increase slightly. After all, they were the ones with the most potential in Glory's 7 major guilds. First, Glory Team's base. Why don't I see him? Lightman looked at Goddess Wakaman. Goddess Wakaman's eyelashes moved imperceptibly. It's nothing. Lin Feng and I are just friends in the first place. It doesn't matter if I see him or not. Lightman smiled slightly. His eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. Actually, you don't need to feel guilty. That day, Lin Feng gave you the championship of the Battle of Glory. He naturally had his own intentions. Moreover, he isn't a jealous person. He won't be concerned about such a small matter, or even regret it. Goddess Wakaman's pure and holy face suddenly flushed red, but Lightman had hit the nail on the head. The reason why she didn't dare to see Lin Feng. Because she felt that she had taken advantage of Lin Feng. Like that day, Lin Feng didn't give up the championship of the Battle of Glory, and today, he joined Team Glory. Entering the path of glory, the one whose strength reached the 7th level of the Sage stage was Lin Feng, not her. Actually, Lightman paused. I don't think you're walking much faster than Lin Feng now. Goddess Wakaman was slightly surprised. Lightman's eyes were bright. Lin Feng entering the path of glory is something that will happen sooner or later. The effect of entering later is actually better. The best time to enter the elementary path of glory is the upper level of the Nirvana stage. The best time to enter the intermediate path of glory is the upper level of the Sage stage. And the best time to enter the advanced path of glory is the upper level of the Nirvana stage. Moreover, the total time to enter the 3 paths of glory cannot exceed 6 months. Goddess Wakaman nodded. The reward of the Battle of Glory was 2 months of elementary path of glory, which she had already used. Moreover, Lin Feng's comprehension of the profound meaning of light is quite good. I believe that he will be able to comprehend the divine light within a month. Lightman looked at Goddess Wakaman. At that time, in terms of profound meaning cultivation, you and he will both be at the perfect profound meaning level. Everyone will be at the same starting point. Who will be recognized by the origin of light first? Lightman smiled. It's still unknown. Goddess Wakaman's beautiful eyes flashed. How could Lightman not know Goddess Wakaman's personality? I know that you have the confidence to be recognized by the origin of light in the Sage stage. But Lin Feng's comprehension of the divine light, profound meaning, is closer to the true meaning of light. As long as his comprehension is deep enough, his speed of being recognized by the origin of light may not be faster than yours, suddenly. Shua! Lightman was startled. His pupils dilated in an instant, and the droplet of light on his forehead flashed, as if jumping for joy. On the other side, Goddess Wakaman also seemed to have sensed something. Her beautiful eyebrows furrowed slightly, but she didn't know what had happened. She just looked at Lightman with confusion in her beautiful eyes. Impossible, Lightman whispered. How is it possible? How is it possible? Lightman kept repeating this sentence as if he was petrified. Suddenly, his figure flashed and disappeared from the hall. Goddess Wakaman pursed her cherry lips and followed. In a sealed cultivation room, Lin Feng sat cross-legged, his whole body wrapped in endless brilliance, as if he was a holy Buddha. Endless light elements surrounded Lin Feng, as if all the light in the surroundings were condensed. The brilliance on Lin Feng's forehead was the brightest. Specks of light gathered like fireflies, as if they were the source of light. Whoosh, whoosh, the specks of light continued to condense, and a light mark like Lightman's gradually appeared on Lin Feng's forehead. This strange phenomenon was shocking. So, this is the true meaning of light. The corners of Lin Feng's mouth curled up slightly. His eyes suddenly lit up, and thousands of rays of light condensed into a single point. The divine light seemed to be swallowed in an instant, and the endless specks of light around him converged into the light mark on his forehead. It was incomparably dazzling. The speed of light became faster and faster, and the light mark became brighter and brighter. Pa! All the light was absorbed into it. Chapter 804. Outside the training room. Want it? Lightman stood upright and looked at the door of the training room with a complicated look. With his strength, he could sense it even from the hall, let alone just one door away. Half a step behind him was Goddess Wakaman. He said in surprise, "What a strong light energy." "It's the light heart," Lightman said. Goddess Wakaman's beautiful eyes moved. "Which commander has been recognized by the light origin?" As soon as she said that, Goddess Wakaman felt that something was wrong. She frowned. "This is the base of our first team. Sister Meng Meng is a holy power cultivator, and Hung has not cultivated the light origin." Looking at Lightman, Goddess Wakaman said softly, "Captain inside." "It's him," Lightman said. "Him." Goddess Wakaman did not know that Lin Feng was in the training room. A pair of beautiful eyes stared at the sealed door of the training room, flashing with envy and admiration. Only those who had obtained the approval of the light source would be granted the heart of light. It was like the heart of light, the lifeline, and had absolute control over the energy of light. Even if she had the 1-in-a-million bloodline of Aurora, cultivated Aurora, reached the peak of the week at the age of 18, and reached the 7th level of the Sage Realm at the age of 19, she still could not be recognized by the light origin and form the light heart. It was difficult. Even if one comprehended the perfect light, profound meaning, it did not mean that one could be recognized by the light origin. This was a kind of realm that could only be understood when one stepped into it. There were only 3 ways to gain the recognition of the origin. One was to increase one's strength level and enhance one's sensitivity to the energy of heaven and earth. Especially after the Nirvana stage, warriors who were recognized by the origin gradually began to appear, but the proportion was still not high. Gaining the recognition of the origin was the most difficult barrier to cross in the Nirvana stage. If one was recognized by the origin in the Sage Realm, he would be a 1-in-a-million genius, a truly talented person. 2 was to comprehend the perfect, profound meaning. The more one comprehended, the easier it would be to gain the recognition of the light origin. 3rd, opportunities could be encountered but not sought. It could be a holy land for cultivation or a heaven-defying holy fruit, etc. There were even legends where the heart of origin was directly condensed after the bloodline awakening. I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. Lightman's eyes were filled with disbelief. Goddess Wakaman pursed her lips and did not ask any more questions. There are as many warriors who have comprehended the divine light as there are stars in the sky. However, those who can truly condense the light heart are only a few times more than those who have comprehended the profound meaning of light. The probability is still not high. Lightman's voice echoed in Goddess Wakaman's ears. For some reason, her heart trembled. Divine light? To think that I was so proud of my peerless talent. My bloodline awakened a second time at the Saint Ascension stage and was acknowledged by the origin energy. Lightman sighed. The Glory Alliance is indeed full of talents. 2 years ago, Xinling awakened her legendary bloodline and directly formed the Wind Heart. A year ago, the little monster of the Glory Alliance's 11 Alliance became the champion of the Road of Glory at the age of 0. And now, he hasn't even reached the Saint Ascension stage at the age of 1. Just by comprehending the perfect, profound meaning, he actually... The corners of Lightman's mouth curled up slightly. It was unknown whether he was smiling or sighing. Behind him, Goddess Wakaman's beautiful eyes were completely wide open. Her fresh and refined face was filled with shock. 1-year-old, not yet at the Saint Ascension stage. He comprehended the divine light and condensed the light heart. Pong! A figure suddenly appeared and froze in front of Goddess Wakaman's eyes. She could not shift her gaze away. Goddess Wakaman's delicate body trembled slightly. She was in disbelief. She opened her cherry lips slightly and looked at Lightman's back. Captain, the person in the cultivation room is the door of the cultivation room slowly opened. A tall and straight figure immediately appeared. He had a sunny smile on his face. His entire body was bathed in dense light energy. There were droplets of light on his forehead that were the same as Lightman's. Lin Feng's appearance instantly petrified Goddess Wakaman. All her doubts disappeared. It was really him. In the hall, Lightman, Meng Meng, and Goddess Wakaman were all gathered. After the first glory team suffered heavy losses, there were only 3 people left. They could not form a team. They could not carry out missions. 3 pairs of eyes fell on Lin Feng and sized him up carefully, especially Vice Captain Meng Meng. Her big eyes were blazing as if she wanted to see through Lin Feng. Oh my God, he really condensed the light heart. Meng Meng covered her mouth in surprise. She was very cute. Goddess Wakaman's delicate and refined face was a little pale. She had always been extremely proud. Even if she missed the championship in the Battle of Glory because of the rules, she did not change because she was indeed the winner that day. Therefore, although she was a little embarrassed at that time, she still accepted the championship title. But now, looking at Lin Feng, she suddenly felt that she had fallen from the clouds. She was at a loss. All kinds of emotions were mixed in her heart. Lin Feng, I really can't believe you. Lightman shook his head and sighed. It's all thanks to your guidance, sir. Lin Feng was grateful and bowed slightly. Without Lightman's guidance and personal guidance, he would not have been able to comprehend the divine light and condense the light heart. In fact, the 2 things were done in one go. The moment he comprehended the divine light, he received the approval of the light origin. It was unexpected, but also within his expectations. He had originally planned to grasp the true meaning of light. Because of Wei Fu's insights on the divine light steel, he had a sudden epiphany and overlapped the contents of the steel with Lightman's picture. He had comprehended the divine light again and again. It was the same as Wei Fu. While comprehending the divine light, he had also grasped the true meaning of light and received the approval of the light origin. Hey, I'm just giving you some pointers. The key is still you. Lightman looked deeply at Lin Feng and then glanced at Ruan Meng. In terms of light aptitude, you are not as good as Ruan Meng, and your strength is also 1 level lower. However, you received the approval of the light origin earlier than her. I believe that other than your fortuitous encounter, your cultivation of the heart, very outstanding. Lightman's words were full of certainty. As someone who had experienced this before, Lightman was very clear on what was needed to condense the divine light into a heart of light. The power of the heart was to destroy all darkness. This was the original intention behind Wei Fu's creation of the perfect, profound meaning, divine light. It was also to pry open a corner of the true meaning of light. Perhaps. Lin Feng smiled. This time, his comprehension had come naturally. Although it had taken him half a month, it was only the blink of an eye for the comprehension of profound meanings. There had not been any obstacles. Perhaps this was the reason why he had received the approval of the light origin while comprehending the divine light. It was just as Lightman had said, the cultivation of the heart. Unfortunately, the divine light can only display powerful attacks against darkness. In terms of attack power, it can't even compare to a peak profound meaning, Lightman said. However, by relying on the power of the light origin, I believe that Lin Feng's strength will rise to a large level. Yes, this time, Lin Feng was not modest. Not only because he had fought with Lightman, but also because he had received the approval of the light origin. He knew how powerful the heart of light was. In the upcoming second round of the Path of Glory, he would give everyone a huge shock. To be continued. Chapter 805. After that, Lin Feng asked Lightman some questions about the light heart. After all, Lightman had condensed the light heart a long time ago. He had used it in a sparring session with Lin Feng. In addition, Lightman was amiable and didn't put on any airs. Where could he find such a good teacher? Lin Feng naturally wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. If he fumbled around on his own, he would undoubtedly take some detours and waste time. It wasn't a soul of talent. nor was it a soul of earth. The light heart was a power that went straight to the heart. In the deepest part of the wisdom soul, only a perfect body could obtain the origin energy's recognition and withstand it. The light heart was driven by the heart. Similarly, it was comprehended by the heart. It was ethereal and ethereal. Actually, we feel that the light heart is unfathomable and ethereal because our strength hasn't reached that level, said Lightman. However, after Grand Nirvana, the origin energy's power is no longer mysterious. It can even be cultivated and strengthened. That's already a different level of life. Even so, obtaining the origin energy's recognition earlier has many benefits. Although the origin energy will be consumed and can't be maintained for long, the increase in combat strength is obvious. Furthermore, the light heart is extremely effective for cultivation, especially increasing the absorption of light energy by the origin. After obtaining the origin energy's recognition, not only will it be easier to comprehend the profound meaning of light, but it will also be stronger when used. You can also control it as you wish. I won't list the benefits one by one. You'll understand in the future, said Lightman. If the light heart's energy is exhausted, you just need to focus on the light heart to quickly recover. Of course, you can also let it slowly absorb itself. All right, that's about it. Master these in the remaining half a month. Your strength will increase greatly. You might not be able to compare to Meng Meng and Ruan Meng, but you should be able to rank around 10th among the 5 participants. Your chances of advancing to the 3rd round aren't small. Lin Feng nodded. In other words, excluding the stronger 4 or 5 of the 7 Glory team members, he would be stronger than the 5 elite commanders ranked first in the group. Lin Feng trusted Lightman's judgment. The improvement is huge. Lin Feng sighed. He still hadn't truly understood the power of the light heart. However, from Guangnan's evaluation, he knew that his strength was definitely below 0 in the 2nd round of 5 people. But now he had risen by as much as 10 places. The strength levels that these 10 people had crossed were quite large. If you accidentally encounter me, humph, humph, I will not be lenient. Meng Meng crossed her arms in front of her chest and said sweetly, Okay, Vice Captain Meng Meng. Lin Feng smiled. He turned his gaze to the goddess Wakaman, who was looking at him. Her beautiful face was still the same, but there were many emotions in her clear eyes. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. I'm looking forward to having another match with you, Ruan Meng. The memory of the Battle of Glorious Star was still fresh in his mind. He had once said that the next time he met Ruan Meng, he would defeat her fair and square. Me too. Goddess Wakaman finally spoke, her calm voice carrying a few ripples. This time, Goddess Wakaman's heart was shaken. Ace Army's territory. Lin Feng is back. Qianhe's eyes lit up. Yes, Captain, a man in green said. I saw him come out of the glory territory with my own eyes. He should have returned to the 111 territory by now. Finally willing to show up. Huashan snorted. Very good. Qianhe slapped the table and stood up. It was difficult to hide the anger and hatred in his eyes. If we don't suppress his spirit, he will go against the heavens. Let's go, Huashan. Give his kid some color. Let him know, humph. The older the ginger, the spicier. Yes, he dares to be disrespectful to Captain. He doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Huashan followed. The 111 territory. Sir, Qianhe and Huashan request an audience. Housekeeper Gong Sun once said. Oh, Lin Feng sneered. Housekeeper Gong Sun once said. They have already come twice. During this period, there are always people sneaking around outside the territory. They should be sent by Qianhe. Half a month ago, they were preparing to barge into the territory. Sir, you are a member of the Kuei squad. They came with ill intentions. You must be careful. Lin Feng looked at the hesitant Gong Sunwen. Do you know what they're going to do? Housekeeper Gong Sunwen said, the Kuei squad has always had a bad reputation. Qianhe is even more vengeful. Sir, you have offended him many times, and Miss Manzi has feelings for you. Qianhe will definitely use his power to suppress you, or at least torment you and embarrass you. Using power to suppress people. Lin Feng muttered. Housekeeper Gong Sun once said, the Glory Alliance has a clear hierarchy. Darren, as a member of the Kuei squad, you have to listen to him. It is very likely that he will send you to carry out some trivial tasks, and you'll be tired from running around. And this is still the light punishment. If you go to the battlefield, he can even send you to be the bait, the vanguard, the rear guard, and other dangerous tasks. Lin Feng asked, "What if I don't obey?" Housekeeper Gong Sun once said, "For disobeying a military order, he will have an excuse to report you to the army commander. At that time, there will be trouble. Demotion is a small matter, but you will be severely punished and expelled from the Glory Alliance." Lin Feng nodded. "Invite them in." "Yes, sir." "Captain, Vice Captain, please sit down. I wonder what wind blew you here." Lin Feng greeted them with a smile. "Humph! Do you even have me, the Vice Captain, in your eyes?" Huashan couldn't hide the anger in his eyes. "First you rejected my alliance, and then you tried to kill me in the simulation, eliminating me from the competition. You don't care about our brotherhood at all." "Vice Captain, you are wrong." Lin Feng said, "I always do things one way and two ways. The path of glory qualification is a personal battle. What's wrong with everyone competing fairly?" "You." Huashan was so angry that his veins were exposed. "Huashan," Chinny shouted, "Lin Feng is right. This is this. He didn't cross the line during the qualification battle." "Yes, Captain." Huashan suddenly deflated like a balloon. Lin Feng smiled at Qianhe. This old fox, he wouldn't be so kind as to stand on his side. There would be more to it, just as expected. But the competition is one thing. As a member of the Trump Card Army, a member of the Glory Alliance, we must first protect the safety of humanity and put our duty as the top priority. Chinny's expression was solemn. "But Lin Feng, you didn't understand the severity of the matter. This is a big mistake. Why didn't you immediately return after the first round?" Lin Feng smiled and didn't answer. He gently sipped his tea. Qianhe gritted his teeth, unable to restrain his anger. "Don't think that Sir Lightman will support you. Let me tell you, Lin Feng, you're still a member of the Kuei squad. You must listen to my orders. Since you are back now, I won't haggle over the previous matters with you. But there is an urgent battlefield mission that you need to carry out. You must immediately." "I refuse." Lin Feng lightly said these 3 words and put down his teacup. To be continued. Chapter 806. Chinhe's eyes narrowed. "Do you know what you're saying, Lin Feng?" Huashan roared. Lin Feng calmly said, "Is there anything else?" Chinhe gave a fake smile and stood up. "Do you know the consequences of disobeying military orders?" Huashan snorted. "Aren't you afraid that we'll tell the 3 ace army commanders?" "Go." Lin Feng sipped his tea and didn't even raise his head. "Isn't this what you want?" Qianhe and Huashan's expressions changed slightly. For a moment, they couldn't figure out what Lin Feng was trying to do. He knew the consequences of disobeying a military order, but he was still as calm as a mountain. His calm and composed expression made Qianhe and Huashan somewhat fearful. But this stalemate wasn't a solution. "Very good." Qianhe looked at Lin Feng. "Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Lin Feng, it's not too late to regret now." "Right. Our captain is very kind," Huashan said. Lin Feng smiled. "Housekeeper Gong Sun, send the guests out." Lin Feng waved his hand. "Yes, sir." "No need." Qianhe's eyes were sharp. He glared at Lin Feng and then turned to leave. Huashan's lips curled into a disdainful smile as he followed. "Captain, where do you think Lin Feng's confidence comes from?" Huashan asked. "I don't know." Qianhe frowned and said in a low voice, "But I'm afraid it's related to Master Lightman. If Master Lightman wants to protect him, even Commander He and Commander Wei can't punish him. After all, they have to give Master Lightman face. Then we're just going to let him do as he pleases?" Huashan was unwilling. In his dreams, Qianhe's eyes sharpened. He thinks that he can do whatever he wants just because Master Lightman likes him. He's too naive. Right now, he's part of the Ace Army and not the Glory Army. Master Lightman's position is special, but there's still the captain of the second team, Master Ing Jian, keeping him in check. Not to mention the Grand Nirvana Army commanders in charge of the Glory Alliance 7. "So, Captain, you want to—" Huashan's eyes flashed. "Create public opinion," Qianhe said coldly. "Spread the news of Lin Feng disobeying a military order. Let all the ace soldiers know about it. At that time, even if Sir Lightman wants to protect him, he won't be able to do anything. After all, in terms of power, the three ace commanders surpass Sir Lightman. Brilliant plan, Captain, Huashan said excitedly. At that time, under the pressure of public opinion, the three ace commanders will definitely not let Lin Feng go easily. Qianni laughed disdainfully. You want to fight me? He's far from it. Ha ha. Huashan laughed. Lin Feng openly disobeyed military orders? It seems so. I heard that he was so angry that he vomited blood. Once he achieved success, he spoke incoherently. You guys don't know, but I heard from my brother that Lin Feng is very arrogant. He wants he to give him 50% of the mission's merits. Otherwise, there's no need to talk about it. Didn't he just pass the first round of the Road of Glory qualification battle? What is he so arrogant about? It has nothing to do with that. It was Sir Lightman who supported Lin Feng. After the first round, Lin Feng didn't return to the Ace Army's territory at all. Instead, he stayed in the First Glory Team's territory for half a month. He has a backer, so no matter what he does, it's fine. Are you for real? Nothing can be accomplished without rules. Are the three commanders going to turn a blind eye to this? The news spread quickly. Originally, Lin Feng's rapid rise had already attracted people's jealousy. Now, things about him naturally attracted people's attention. Many people actually had the mentality of not wanting to see others do well. Profound Sense Realm, Profound Sense Testing Realm. It didn't belong to the 5 major realms of Profound Sense, but it attracted a lot of attention because the Profound Sense points were obtained here. That day, Lin Feng had created the highest Profound Sense record. Whoosh, whoosh, various red lights appeared in the sky from time to time. Yellow lights. Various colors represented various levels of profound sense. Compared to the liveliness of the combat strength assessment in the first half of the year, the profound sense testing realm was relatively empty. There were only 2 or 3 kittens. When they saw Lin Feng arrive, they all looked over. Now, Lin Feng's reputation in the Ace Army had spread far and wide. He was ranked 6th in combat strength and was one of the 5 people who passed the first round of the Road of Glory qualification battle. Moreover, he was the only soldier among the 5. Most importantly, Lin Feng came to the 33 continents and entered the Glory Alliance 7 for only 2.5 months. In front, figures walked out of the clouds one after another. Soon, it was Lin Feng's turn. Follow me. The soldier in charge of the test led the way. There was a hint of respect in his voice. Lin Feng followed. He already knew the procedure of the profound sense testing. One had to enter the depths of the profound sense testing realm to take the test. It could also be kept secret from the martial artist taking the test. What kind of energy? The soldier in charge of the test asked. Light, Lin Feng replied. The soldier was slightly stunned. Then he turned left and was slightly surprised. Lin Feng also knew that, because he had tested lightning the last time, martial artist source points were usually fused. But the cultivation of profound sense would often be independent. After all, there were always 2 types of Saint Chi that one was good at, and it was easier to be recognized by the origin energy if one focused on one. Soon, they arrived at the testing ground. Lin Feng looked ahead. It was a majestic light element Saint Crystal Formation. It was very similar to the thunder element Saint Crystal Formation he tested before, but light energy replaced thunder energy. But it felt completely different to him. Bang! His heart palpitated. In the center of the Saint Crystal Formation of light, there was a round bead the size of a goose egg. The origin light bead was at the center of the formation. A real treasure. Lin Feng couldn't look away. Now that he had been recognized by the origin of light, he could truly feel the preciousness and power of the origin light bead. It was not a heaven-level treasure, but a legendary Nirvana expert used it. A super heaven-level sacred treasure. Go in. Use the light element profound sense against the origin light bead. It doesn't have to be an offensive profound sense. The soldier in charge of the test introduced mechanically. The 7 of us will give a score according to the depth of each color. Remove the 2 highest and lowest, and take the average score of the remaining 5. The 7 soldiers in front looked over with anticipation in their eyes. They wanted to know what breakthrough Lin Feng, who had set the record for the top profound sense points 2 months ago, would have this time. Could it be, in just 2 months, he had already comprehended the perfect profound sense? Entering nirvana, comprehending the perfect profound sense. Thinking of this, the soldiers felt their hearts surge with anticipation. Lin Feng smiled faintly and entered. The moment he entered, it was as if he had returned home. Endless light, elemental energy surrounded him like fairies, deep and warm. This was not resonance, but integration into the formation of light. It was perfect. Lin Feng walked toward the origin light bead. His eyes were bright as he stopped. It was as if the origin light bead was a part of his body. He didn't need to use profound sense because the origin light bead on Lin Feng's forehead shone brightly, instantly causing the origin light bead to shine. The entire formation of light surged violently with extreme joy. Endless light, elemental energy gathered, and in an instant, a white light broke through the air, illuminating the entire sky. Chapter 807. Outside the profound meaning test. Many honorable soldiers were waiting. Suddenly, a bright white light flashed in the sky. There was no change in color. Only the white light illuminated the entire sky, illuminating the entire world. Bathing in this white light made people feel peaceful. White light. What is that? I don't know. I only know that red is intermediate profound meaning. Yellow is advanced profound meaning. Blue is peak profound meaning. And the highest perfect profound meaning is purple. Could it be fused profound meaning? I don't think so. Even if it's fused profound meaning, it still matches the profound meaning test. It's just that the color is darker. What is white? Several honorable soldiers were confused, but it was not their fault. Commanders would not be tested for their profound meaning realm. Captains needed to be recognized by the origin energy and condense a light core. There was only light man. It was too rare. However, the 7 honorable soldiers in charge of the profound meaning test knew. Everyone's eyes widened like gongs, and their jaws dropped to the ground. Some blinked and shook their heads with all their might, while others rubbed their eyes hard, afraid that they were seeing things. However, that white radiance was clearly reflected in front of them and didn't disperse for a long time. The dense light energy covered the area, and the excited light elements filled the air. Everything told them an ironclad fact. Lin Feng had obtained the recognition of the light origin. He had condensed a light core. Lin Feng has condensed a light core? It seems like it. He's already reached the sage stage? I don't know. But in the history of the Seven Glory Alliance, obtaining the recognition of the origin energy at the sage stage is very rare. What if he is still at the nirvana stage? Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They cannot believe it. I have never heard of a soldier obtaining the recognition of the origin energy at the nirvana stage in the history of the Seven Glory Alliance. Even in the entire 12 Glory Alliance, it could be counted on one hand. If it's true, they looked at each other. Their eyes revealed deep shock. Quickly report to the 3 captains. Something big has happened. Glory territory. Is what you said true? He Jin stared at Qian He. Every word is true. If you don't believe me, you can ask Huashan. Qian He said. Huashan nodded his head and bowed. Sir Commanders, please understand. The captain and I personally invited Lin Feng to carry out the mission together, but we did not expect him to be so arrogant. He did not even allow us to say more than half a sentence before he flatly rejected us. His heart is now on the path of glory's qualification battle, and he has long forgotten his job. Qian He's eyes lit up. This matter has already spread like wildfire in the Ace Army's territory. I hope that the 3 sirs can handle this matter impartially. Otherwise, are you teaching me how to do things? He Jin glanced over. Your subordinate wouldn't dare, Qian He said hurriedly. Wei Xingyan put on a fake smile and said, nothing can be accomplished without rules. Little He, are you thinking of breaking the rules? He Jin said, convicting Lin Feng based on Qian He and Huashan's words is too rash. We need to have Lin Feng come here and clarify things to prevent others from causing trouble. He Jin's eyes swept over the room. Perhaps there is some misunderstanding. Wei Xingyuan laughed dryly. Well said. Well said. Qian He and Hui Shan's faces tightened. I asked the 3 army commanders to reconsider. Your subordinates do not dare to lie. If Lin Feng comes here with his cunning, he will definitely not admit to it. He Jin said, how do I know if the 2 of you are trying to frame him? This. Qian He and Hui Shan were stuck. How about this? Yuan Shuang, who was watching from the side with her arms crossed, said, I will go with you. You can test Lin Feng again. I will secretly observe. If Lin Feng is really as you say, I will not be merciful. Hua, Hua. Qian He and Hua Shan's eyes lit up. They said, that's good. Then we will have to trouble you. Before they finished speaking, an elite soldier rushed in from outside. It was one of the 7 soldiers in charge of the arcane world test. He looked nervous and excited, his body trembling. 3 army commanders, it's not good. No, it's not right. Something big has happened. Something big? He Jin and the other 2 were startled. Ji Lin, speak slowly, Jin said. The elite soldier Ji Lin sighed and calmed his mind. His eyes were bright and full of spirit. He was very excited. 3 army commanders. Lin Feng has set a new record. Shua, Qian He and Hui Shan's faces were ugly. The 3 of them had different expressions. Didn't he set a new record for the peak profound meaning test 2 months ago? Yuan Shuang was surprised. Did he set a new record? The elite soldier Ji Lin shook his head. No, it's not like that. Oh. He Jin's face was filled with joy. Lin Feng comprehended a perfect, profound meaning. Brother Ji Lin said he set a new record. Yuan Shuang rolled her eyes and turned her head. So Lin Feng set a perfect, profound meaning record. Once she said this, Qian He and Hui Shan's legs went soft and a chill ran down their spines. No, the elite soldier Ji Lin denied it again. Qian He and Hui Shan sighed in relief. Their hearts were finally put down. Lin Feng, he obtained the recognition of the light source and formed the light core. The elite soldier Ji Lin said excitedly. Pooh! Wei Xian Yuan, who was drinking tea, jumped in fright. Qian He and Hua Shan's mouths were wide open enough to fit an egg. He Jin and Yuan Shuang's eyes were wide open in shock. What did you just say? Lin Feng of the Ace Troop. The elite soldier, Ji Lin, kept nodding his head in excitement. Really? Yuan Shuang found it hard to believe. He formed the light core. He Jin's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly thought of something. Then is he in the Nirvana realm or the Saint Ascension realm? The elite soldier Ji Lin frowned. He should still be in the 9th level of the Nirvana realm. Pung! It was like a heavy bomb had landed, causing the 3 army commanders to be shocked. As for Qian He and Hua Shan, they were completely dumbfounded. Were they dreaming? The news was quickly confirmed. Lin Feng had indeed obtained the recognition of the light source, and he had obtained it as a soldier in the 9th level of the Nirvana realm. Just as Ji Lin said, Lin Feng had created another record. A new record for the Glory 7 Alliance. At the age of 1, he had reached the 9th level of the Nirvana realm. He had obtained the recognition of the light source. This was not just a monster, but a monster among monsters. It must be because he is no longer the same as before that he is so arrogant, refusing to accept missions and disobeying orders. Qian clenched his teeth. Knowing that Lin Feng's strength had greatly increased, he was willing to wait for death. Captain is right. The 3 of you may not know, but Lin Feng is so arrogant because he is so talented. Hua Shan encouraged. He doesn't put us, the Ace Troop, in his eyes at all. He doesn't treat the safety of humanity as his duty. One day, I think he won't even put the 3 of you in his eyes. Hua Shan said. To be continued. Chapter 808. Territory 111. The 3 Ace Generals, the 3 powerful people in charge of Glory's Alliance 7, had arrived. Even though the true pillars of Glory's Alliance 7 were the mysterious generals, they basically didn't care about anything. At most, they would give out a range of targets. The true power holders were the Ace Generals, and below them were the Elite Generals. He Jin, Wei Xingyuan, Yuan Shuang. The three entered Lin Feng's territory with Qian, He, and Huashan at the back. Regardless of whether Lin Feng had really disobeyed the military order, he had obtained the recognition of the Light Origin as a soldier. He had made history in Glory's Alliance 7. Logically speaking, the three ace generals were here to verify the truth and congratulate Lin Feng. Qian, He, and Huashan's expressions were somewhat ugly. Lin Feng's sudden increase in strength had made them tremble in fear. The situation had suddenly changed. Lin Feng's disobedience might become their responsibility. Once Lin Feng denied it, it would mean that they were lying. It didn't matter which side the three ace generals believed. The key was that Lin Feng had become the pride of Glory's Alliance 7. Such a person would definitely become a member of Glory in the future. He might even become a captain. His future was limitless. Because of this, they might have gone for wool and come home shorn. There's still hope. Qian looked at Wei Xinyuan, who was in the middle. He was the oldest and most powerful ace general in Glory's Alliance 7. Most importantly, because of Wei Sun, Wei Xinyuan had been scammed by Lin Feng for 100,000 battle points. He definitely held a grudge against Lin Feng. From his words, it was clear that he was dissatisfied with Lin Feng. He glanced at Huashan. The latter was like a turtle hiding in its shell. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Coward, Qian cursed. Lin Feng. He Jin smiled and stepped in. Congratulations. This little guy is not bad. Yuan Shuang and Wei Xinyuan also smiled. Behind them, Qian congratulated with a fake smile. Huashan revealed a flattering expression, smiling until his eyes were squinted. Thank you for your concern, commanders. Lin Feng greeted them with a smile, his gaze sweeping over Qian He and Huashan, his expression unchanged as he said, Everyone, please take a seat. Steward Gongsun, when beside him, had already instructed the maids to prepare tea and water. The ones who had come were three ace army commanders with high authority. Naturally, they could not afford to be negligent. Everyone took their seats. After some small talk, they congratulated Lin Feng for obtaining the recognition of the Light Origin. One had to know that most of the elite commanders had yet to be acknowledged by the Origin energy. It could be said that this was the most difficult hurdle of the Grand Nirvana stage. Lin Feng had obtained the Light Heart at such a young age. When he entered the Ascended Saint stage, it would be easy for him to obtain the recognition of other source energies. As long as he didn't die, he would definitely undergo the Great Nirvana in the future. He Jin. Although Wei Xinyuan and Yuan Shuang were ace army commanders, they had only obtained the recognition of one of the Origin energy. Without reaching the Great Nirvana stage, the Origin energy obtained could not be improved. Thus, in this aspect, Lin Feng was already on par with them. After obtaining the recognition of the Origin energy, I believe that Lin Feng's strength will be comparable to that of an ordinary elite commander. Your chances of advancing to the second round of the Path of Glory will greatly increase, He Jin said. Advancing from 25 to May 10th not be impossible, Yuan Shuang said. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Thank you for your auspicious words, commanders. But speaking of which, these are two separate matters. There is something I still need to clarify, Wei Xinyuan said. Please speak, Commander Wei, Lin Feng said. Wei Xinyuan said, I hope you will speak the truth. You must not deceive or hide anything. Naturally, Lin Feng said. Wei Xinyuan grunted. Did Qian He and Huashan come to invite Lin Feng to carry out a battlefield mission? Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Oh, then your answer, Wei Xinyuan slowly said. Lin Feng, you cannot lie. Qian He shouted. Lin Feng smiled. He did not look at Qian He. Instead, he looked at the three ace army commanders. At this moment, He Jin was looking at him with a meaningful gaze. Lin Feng felt grateful. Then he said, to be honest, Qian He and Huashan are telling the truth. Hua! Everyone was shocked, especially Qian He. He had prepared countless countermeasures in his heart. He was afraid that Lin Feng would not admit it. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would admit it so straightforwardly? Huashan was also confused. He was just hesitating whether to switch sides and help Lin Feng. But now, he did not need to think about it anymore. He Jin frowned slightly. Yuan Shuang immediately became as cold as ice. No matter how strong your talent and potential are, you cannot forget the blood you shed and the reason you joined the Glory Alliance. Lin Feng looked at Ace Army Commander Yuan Shuang. I have not forgotten. Wei Xin Yuan snorted. Then why did you refuse the battlefield mission? Carrying out missions for the Glory Alliance is the duty of every soldier. No one can shirk it, including you and me, because we bear the heavy responsibility of protecting humanity. Chen He said disdainfully, selfish person. Lin Feng, disobeying a military order can be a big or small matter. Even the Glory Alliance captain has to treat everyone equally. He Jin hinted. Lin Feng looked at everyone. There's something that everyone has misunderstood. Lin Feng said, I did refuse Captain Xianhe's invitation, but it does not mean that I am shirking my responsibility and disobeying a military order. I just don't want to work with a group of jackals. Lin Feng looked at Qianhe and Huashan. Their faces immediately turned red. What did you say? Qianhe was furious. Lin Feng said indifferently, the Kuei squad's reputation is out there. Do you need me to say anything more? You. Qianhe clenched his teeth. The three Ace Army commanders frowned and looked at each other. Wei Xin Yuan said, the reputation of the squad is one thing, but Lin Feng, since you signed the contract, you are a member of the Kuei squad. You must fulfill your promise. This is the rule of the Glory Alliance. No one is allowed to provoke us. Violators will be dealt with according to military law. A glint flashed across Wei Xinyuan's eyes. Naturally, he would deal with Lin Feng impartially without mercy. Just as Qianhe knew, he held a grudge against Lin Feng. Yes, Qianhe slapped the table and stood up. Three army commanders, we cannot allow this kind of atmosphere to spread and affect the other soldiers. No matter how many records Lin Feng has created, it does not change the fact that he does not respect the Glory Alliance and is selfish. This kind of person is just wasting resources in the Glory Alliance. It is meaningless. So I suggest, Qianhe continued. Eugene snorted, causing Qianhe's expression to change. Eugene said coldly, since when do you have the right to speak here? Gulp. Qianhe swallowed his saliva and did not dare to say more. TSK little he. Wei Xinyuan said, honest words are unpleasant to the ear. Qianhe is right. Our Glory Alliance needs strong martial talents. But no matter how strong they are, if their heart is not with humanity and they're not willing to do their duty for humanity, it is useless no matter how good their conditions are. Cough. Lin Feng's voice attracted everyone's attention. Can I speak now? Lin Feng smiled. Chapter 809. You still want to argue? Wei Xian Yuan smirked. Speak, He Jin said in a low voice. Yuan Shuang looked at Lin Feng with disappointment. On the other hand, Qianhe was pleased. With Commander Wei on his side and Lin Feng acting recklessly, it could be said that he had one foot in the trap. Even if he wanted to escape now, he would at least lose a layer of skin. Moreover, could he escape? Thinking of this, Qianhe's lips curled into a sinister smile. Commanders, as I said before, I don't have any intention of shirking responsibility or disobeying orders. I just don't want to be on the same side as wolves, Lin Feng said. Qianhe and Hui Shan's faces darkened. The Glory Alliance worships obedience. Wei Xian Yuan snorted. It's not a personal hero's idea. Even if you don't want to, you have to obey your superiors. He Jin shook his head. Unless Lin Feng pays 10 times the reward, you can leave your original team. 10 times the reward. That day, Lin Feng received 5,000 points. If he wanted to break the contract, he would have to pay 50,000 points. Qianhe was pleased. Although it was painful to pay 5,000 points back then, it had become a golden hoop that firmly bound Lin Feng. 50,000 points. Could Lin Feng take it out? Even if he was able to take it out, all of these merits would fall into his pocket. No matter what Lin Feng did, he would still make a profit. Lin Feng smiled. I don't intend to break the contract, nor do I want to leave Kuei squad. Lin Feng smiled and said, but I clearly remember that the 9th clause of the 7th section of the Ace Army's territory clearly states, as long as the combat strength points exceed 7,000 points, You can ignore the contract and leave your original team to form a new team. I wonder if the three commanders remember this? The entire hall fell silent. Not only were Wei Xi and Yuan and the other two stunned, but Qian He and Huoshan were also stunned. Was there such a clause? Why didn't I know? Qian He's eyes widened in confusion. He had been in the Ace Army for too long, but he had never known that there was such a thing. The 6 small teams in the Ace Army had not changed at all since he had joined. Just like the Glory team, they were all cyclical. The captain passed it to the vice captain, and the vice captain passed it to the outstanding members. The members were replenished with fresh blood. Since when was there such a rule for establishing a new team? Huoshan was even more confused. The rules of the Ace Army's territory were usually ignored after hearing them. It was just the basics of the basics, such as not fighting, glory levels, how to obtain battle points, and so on. Usually, it was taught by a guide or other experienced soldiers. He had no idea about the self-created team. As a matter of fact, once a person's combat power reached 7,000 points, he or she would already be one of the best in the Ace Corps. Basically, a person with 6,500 combat power points would become a captain. Once a person's combat power reached 7,000 points, he or she would already be deeply rooted in the team. He was already the captain, so what was the point of creating his own team? Qian He and Huoshan didn't know, but the 3 Ace Corps commanders knew this. He Jin was stunned. Lin Feng, your combat power points are 7,000? Yuan Shuang's beautiful eyes flashed. Wei Xingyuan's brows were tightly knitted. No one knew what he was thinking. Just over 7,000. Lin Feng smiled. Previously, his combat power points were 649. But this time, after obtaining the recognition of the origin energy and condensing the light core, his profound meaning points jumped from 5877 to 900. There was a clear rule for obtaining the recognition of the origin energy in the profound meaning realm, so there was no need to evaluate. Grasping the peak profound meaning, combat power points, 4,000 to 5999. Grasping the perfect profound meaning, combat power points, 6,000 to 7999. Obtaining the 5 elements origin energy, 8,500 yin and yang origin energy, 9,000 heaven and earth origin energy. Obtaining any 2 types of origin energy would result in a full score of 10,000. 7054. Yuan Shuang remembered Lin Feng's previous combat power points. That's right. He Ji nodded and exclaimed. At this time, Qian He and Huoshan's faces were ashen, and their hands and feet were cold. 7,054 points. Although they had never heard of this rule, from the expressions of the 3 corps commanders, it was obvious that Lin Feng was not lying. A whopping 7,054 combat power points. Not only did it surpass Qian He, who was ranked 4th, but it also squeezed the leader of the Phoenix Squad, Poppy, out of the top 3. Poppy's combat power points were 7,008. Actually, I was going to find the 3 corps commanders to confirm this. Lin Feng smiled slightly. Qian He trembled in fear. Jealousy, anger. His feelings were extremely complicated. He was completely played by Lin Feng, and not only did he become a clown, but he also took a big tumble. Lin Feng ignored the contract and became independent from the original squad without compensation. In other words, the contract was invalid. 5,000 combat power points. Qian He was heartbroken, but what made his heart tremble even more was that Lin Feng's strength had increased so quickly. In just 2.5 months, he had obtained the recognition of the origin energy and was valued by Master Wang Nan. He would definitely join the Glory Squad in the future, and he had completely offended Lin Feng. It's over, it's over. Qian He lowered his head. His face was pale, and his clenched fists were sweating. Boom! The entire Ace Troop territory was in an uproar. When Lin Feng's 7,054 battle power points soared to the 3rd place, all the Ace soldiers were deeply shocked. Especially Poppy, who was originally in 3rd place. She had mixed feelings. She was the same as Lin Feng, and had also entered the 2nd round of the Path of Glory qualification battles. Damn, this little monster. The leader of the Baizhe squad, Wu Qi, scolded. He was ranked 2nd, with 7,379 combat power points. Although he was 300 points higher than Lin Feng, But why do I feel that this little monster will soon catch up to us? Wu Qi laughed bitterly, the giant hammer in his hand rumbling. Although he was short, he was full of fighting spirit. He was currently preparing for the second round of the Path of Glory qualification battle. Don't care about him. This monster is on the same level as Guangnan. Compared to him, it hurts my pride. Qi, the blade roared. The mark between Qin Tianxing's eyebrows was incomparably deep, a light flashing past. After the second blood awakening, his combat power points were as high as 7780. He was the strongest in the ace troop. Even Wu Qi, who was ranked second, Qin Tianxing, did not put in his eyes. But this time, however, he felt threatened. She could feel the footsteps chasing after her relentlessly, especially when Lin Feng had not only entered the second round of the Path of Glory qualification battle, but also entered the first Glory squad after the first round. Originally, he did not put Lin Feng in his eyes, but now, combined with Lin Feng's strength and combat power points, he could not help but believe that the rumors were true. A genius that Guang Nan has his eyes on? Qin Tianxing pursed his lips, his gaze as sharp as a blade. Pung! The blade roared powerfully. Qin Tianxing was incomparably stubborn. I'm the strongest in the ace troop. Qin Tianxing's eyes were filled with arrogance. Chapter 810. Did you hear? Qin, he got screwed over by Lin Feng this time. Yeah, all the promised money was wasted, and he even offended Lin Feng. Qin, he's really stupid. Can he afford to offend Lin Feng now? He will be at least an ace commander in the future. He can kill him with a flick of his finger. There's no cure for his stupidity. He wants to fight over a woman with Lin Feng. Is he worthy? Everyone kicks a man who is down. Qin, he was also unlucky. Right now, Lin Feng was a very popular person. All the Glory soldiers wanted to get on Lin Feng's boat. If they followed a strong captain, they would have meat to eat. If they followed a captain like Qian, it was no secret in the Ace Corps' territory that the Kuei squad had become. Brother Lin, you're so strong. Yixia's eyes were full of worship. My heavens, that's the origin energy. Even Nirvana stage cultivators can only obtain 10% of the origin energy's recognition. Yixia's face was red with excitement. Isn't that right, Sister Manzi? Manzi's eyes flashed. Nirvana stage obtaining the recognition of source energy is too rare. I have to say I admire you. Wu Daozi shook his head and clicked his tongue. Lin Feng, you've brought honor to the martial artists of the 33 continents. Blowing Snow also nodded with a smile. Everyone gathered in the restaurant. The first time was Yixia's treat. This time it was Lin Feng's treat. Unknowingly, 2.5 months had passed since they entered the Nirvana world. Everyone, don't chase after me. I was just lucky. Lin Feng smiled. Thanks to Master Lightman's guidance, I was able to obtain the light source's recognition in such a short time. Lin Feng was very clear that without Lightman's 2 demonstrations, even if he could comprehend the divine light, it would be impossible to obtain the light source. Indeed, it was a fortuitous encounter. Everyone raised their cups and toasted to congratulate Lin Feng. They were truly happy. After all, they were all martial artists from the 33 continents. The martial artists of the Nirvana world would more or less be estranged from them. Although they wouldn't push them aside, there would always be some discomfort. However, Lin Feng's sudden rise had raised the status of the martial artists of the 33 continents to a whole new level. Everyone, please come today. Firstly, it's to celebrate. Secondly, I have something important to discuss with you, Lin Feng said. Everyone was slightly surprised. Manzi and Wu Daozi were the calmest. Both of them revealed smiles, as if they had already guessed it. Lin Feng also smiled. I won't beat around the bush here. Since we're all on the same side, I'll get straight to the point. As everyone knows, my combat power points are higher than 7,000, and I've already separated from the Kuei squad. Commander, he suggested the name, and we're now called the Chaos Squad. Everyone nodded. The news had already spread like wildfire. The 6A squads, which had not changed for decades, now had a 7th squad, the Chaos Squad, which shocked the entire Ace Army territory. Because of this, many of the Ace soldiers reread the basic rules, afraid that they would miss something, especially Qian He and Huashan. Brother Lin, you mean? Yi Xiao wasn't stupid. He understood what Lin Fan meant. Lin Feng glanced at everyone and said calmly, I hope that the four of you can join the Chaos Squad, and we'll fight side by side in the future. The four of them looked at each other and could not help but laugh. That goes without saying. I'll definitely follow you, Brother Lin. Yi Xiao patted his chest and said. Shi Manzi winked at him. Remember to give me the position of vice captain. Lin Feng smiled and said, Right now, only you and Yi Xia are qualified to be in the squad. Who else can I give it to but you? Wu Daozi's combat power ranking was currently 70th, and Shui Shue was 83rd. There was still a long way to go to reach 4,000 combat power points, which was the passing line to be in the top 50. Shi Manzi was still a little short before, but after receiving the reward of combat power, she was now above 4,000 and was ranked 45th. Although Yi Xia's combat power points had dropped because of Jizi Xuan, his foundation was still there. After the emotional trauma, he slowly recovered and entered the top 50 again. According to the rules, the two of them could join the Chaos Squad, but if they wanted to carry out missions, their combat power points would need to reach the excellent 4,500 combat power points. Shui Shue, Brother Wu Daozi, what do you think? Lin Feng said, If you're not willing, I won't force you. Why wouldn't I be willing? I'm already in 70th place, if there's a squad that wants me. Wu Daozi laughed. Swayer shrugged and said helplessly, But with my current progress, I need more than 4,000 combat power points to enter the top 50. At least 2 months, at most half a year. I might need even longer, Brother Lin, Shui Shue said softly. Lin Feng waved his hand, and suddenly, for yellow gems worth 1,000 combat power points appeared. The yellow light was dazzling and instantly attracted the attention of everyone around, all of them revealing looks of envy. 4 yellow gems were equivalent to 4,000 combat power points. Shui Shue, Brother Wu Daozi, each of you have 1,000 combat power points. I won't be biased. Lin Feng said, Xiao Xia and Manzi both got 1,000 combat power points before. Just treat it as me giving you guys an overdraft. With this amount of combat power points, I believe that your cultivation time will be shortened by more than a few times. Whoosh, whoosh. Wu Daozi and Shui Xue's eyes suddenly lit up. Right now, they were like newbies, relying on their combat power points to survive. The dozens of combat power points that they had every month was not enough. Lin Feng knew this the best because he had been like that. Everything was difficult at the beginning, but after passing that threshold, the future would be much smoother, especially for Wu Daozi. His talent was not worse than Manzi's, but because he did not have enough combat power points, he could not quickly improve his strength. Then I won't be polite. Wu Daozi took the 1,000 combat power points and said happily, Captain, please take care of me in the future. Shui Shue was a little hesitant, but seeing Wu Daozi like this, she did not hesitate and took the combat power points. Just right. Lin Feng smiled and said, Now that the team is not complete, I don't need to take any missions. I can focus on preparing for the war. When Brother Wu Daozi and Shui Shue reach 4,000 combat power points, I believe that by that time, I will have returned from the 3rd round of the Path of Glory. At that time, we can go on missions together. Come, let's toast to our Chaos team. Cheers. Captain, you have the final say. Ace Troop Territory. Have you heard? Lin Feng spent 8,000 combat power points to recruit 4 members. Damn, where did he get so many combat power points? Did you forget? He was scammed by Lin Feng for 5,000 combat power points. Lin Feng also has quite a bit of savings. 8,000 combat power points can't be taken out. After all, the ace captains all belong to someone else. Lin Feng can only recruit the most outstanding soldiers, so 5,000 combat power points is actually not that expensive. Adding it all up, 8,000 combat power points. TSK. Lin Feng is probably broke now. Broke your ass. Look at the combat power rankings yourself. Lin Feng's combat power points are as high as 7,054. Don't forget, Lin Feng is not an ace captain. He is still in the Nirvana realm and has the status of a soldier, so he can get combat power points from his account and reward points. Those who rank in the top 3 will receive a maximum of 10 times the amount of battle credits. Chapter 811. Lin Feng was well aware of his current combat power points. Not only did it exceed Master Guangmon's record 3 years ago, but it also exceeded the record of the ace soldiers of the Glory Alliance. Originally, he was ranked 6th with 649 combat power points, which gave him 107 combat power points. The top 10 had 5,360 combat power points, which was a total of 643 combat power points. But now, with 754 combat power points, he was ranked 3rd. His combat power points were as high as 351, which was more than double the previous amount. However, this didn't count. After all, the combat power points had to be returned in the future. What was truly terrifying was the combat power points awarded. The top 10 could get 10 times the reward, which was 3,510 combat power points. Every month, 3,510 combat power points. What a huge amount! Unfortunately, only soldiers can enjoy this benefit. Lin Feng stepped into the heaven and earth realm, and the rich energy of heaven and earth rushed towards him. He couldn't stay at the Nirvana realm forever. Combat power points were used to serve one's strength. If he turned around, he would be putting the cart before the horse. From the 9th level of the Nirvana realm to the 1st level of the Saint realm, the energy needed is the most. Even with the Tai Nether Source, it would take about 10 days. Lin Feng looked for the energy spring and estimated. To enter the 3 heavenly realms, it would cost 100 combat power points per day, but it was just a small amount for him now. Soon, he would get 5,861 combat power points. With the consumption of the 3 heavenly realms, it was enough for him to cultivate for half a year. I can still get it for 2 months. Lin Feng nodded. He was indeed confident that he could reach the 1st level of the Saint realm before the 2nd round of the Path of Glory qualification battle at the end of August. However, this meant that he wouldn't get the combat power points reward in September. The way to maximize his profit was to stop before he reached the Saint realm at the end of August. He would wait until September to retest his strength and level, and then continue to level up. In this way, he would get the combat power points reward in September. 2 months, 50,000 combat power points. Lin Feng was satisfied. It was enough for him to get through the early stage safely. As for the combat power points given to Yi Xia and the others, it was insignificant in comparison. Drum Hammer Heavenly Realm. In the Earth Spirit Spring, Lin Feng was cultivating quickly. The Tai Nether Source absorbed the energy of heaven and earth at an astonishing speed. The light heart on his forehead flashed. The absorption of light energy was far more than the absorption of dark and lightning energy. This was also the reason why he chose the Earth Spirit Spring. Not only did he not need to increase his cultivation speed, but he also needed to increase his cultivation speed. Instead, he had to suppress it. After obtaining the acknowledgement of the source energy, one's cultivation speed would increase at a terrifying rate. This was also the reason why Lightman's strength had increased so quickly. In terms of source grade, he was not outstanding in the Glory Team, especially when compared to the 2nd-place Glory Team's captain, Ing Jian. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. However, not only was Light Male firmly seated as the captain of Glory's #1 team, he was even stronger than Shadow Sword. This was the power of origin energy. A 15-fold increase in heaven and earth energy is already enough. Lin Feng was very clear. With the light core's amplification, not only did it surpass the previous 30 times amplification of the heaven and earth energy, it even surpassed it. Previously, he had been cultivating in the lightning spirit spring, so his cultivation speed had increased from 15 times to 30 times. It took him 4.5 days to go from the 7th level to the 8th level of the Nirvana realm. And from the 8th level to the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, it took him 11.5 days. Right now, it would only take him less than 10 days to go from the 9th level of Nirvana stage to the 1st level of Sage stage, even if his cultivation speed was halved. Entering the spiritual spring of thunder or spiritual spring of darkness would not increase his strength by much, because the key was the light core. The reason why he chose the Earth Spirit Spring was more for the Tyrant Dragon avatar. If he wanted to increase his strength quickly, spiritual spring of light. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. His cultivation speed could be increased by several times on the basis of his current cultivation speed. Glory's number 2 team's base. Hey! Whoosh! Boundless sword energy crushed down. The sword world in the huge training field was extremely terrifying. The purple sword energy burst out with rays of light. The sword energy was far stronger than all the experts in the first round of the Road of Glory's qualification battle. It was a young man with a purple sword. The dark purple sword between his eyebrows moved. His body was like a phantom. It was impossible to see how he moved. Huff, huff, huff. There were still 3 figures in the training field. At this time, they were panting and their faces were pale. One of them was a giant hammer on the ground. He was 2.5 meters tall. The muscles on his legs were even taller than the young man with a purple sword. It was the vice captain, Giant Kuei. The other one was wearing a tuxedo-like armor. It was Chuan Xian Ho. He had a pointy mouth and a monkey-like face. He had 2 1-meter-long military knives in his hands. His strength was second only to the vice captain. He stood back to back with Chuan Xian Ho. It was a man who was as thin as a rib. He looked like a skeleton with no meat on his body. The muscles on his face were completely twisted and bumpy. He looked like a monster that crawled up from hell. Ordinary people would vomit at the sight of him. However, he was as famous as Chuan Xian Ho and Glory's number 2 team, Yu Gue, who was best at taking the enemy's head. You haven't improved at all. The young man with a purple sword frowned slightly and said coldly, "You can't blame us. You're too strong, Captain," Chuan Xian Ho shouted. "Captain, your movement skill is too ghostly. Coupled with the suppression of the purple sword world, the 3 of us can't win against you," Yu Gue said gloomily. Giant Kuei laughed and said, "It's much better than the last time." Whoosh! The figure of the young man with a purple sword flashed, and the purple sword between his eyebrows disappeared. In an instant, the entire sword world disappeared without a trace. 3 rays of light lit up in the hands of the young man with a purple sword. Giant Kuei, Chuan Xian Ho, and Yu Gue caught them, and their eyes suddenly lit up. Each of you take a second-class military merit medal and go to Glory's treasure house to exchange for a treasure. The young man with a purple sword flashed, "I don't care about black impermanence," and go Xian Ho. The 3 of you must enter the 3rd round and trample on the faces of the first team for me. Step on their dignity and advance. Yes, Captain. Chuan Xian Ho and the other 2 were overjoyed. That was a second-class military merit medal. Don't let me down, the young man with a purple sword said coldly, and suddenly turned around and disappeared. He was one of the 2 ultimate masters of Glory's 7 unions, the captain of the 2nd team of Glory's number 8 Saint Realm. Shadow Sword. Time passed day by day. The 2nd round of the Path of Glory qualification battle was getting closer and closer. The 5 participants were rubbing their fists and waiting for the battle to start. The first round was just an audition. The second round was the real challenge. Whether it was the elite commanders or the members of Glory, it was not easy to advance in the second round. In this round, the strength of the participants was relatively equal. On the 9th day of entering the Drum Heavenly Realm, Lin Feng finally left. He had to leave because if he continued to cultivate, he was about to step into the Saint Realm. There are still 5 days left. If I stabilize the use of the True Dragon Saber Realm and the Light Heart, it should be enough. I should have a 50% chance of advancing in the second round. Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. Compared to a month ago, his confidence had increased a lot. Chapter 8:12. After leaving the Heaven and Earth realm, Lin Feng did not immediately return to his territory. Instead, he went straight to the Glory realm and entered the Glory treasury. If he did not use the 3rd-class military medal he had obtained in the first round, when would he? I have a 40% to 50% chance of advancing to the 3rd round. But if I can obtain a treasure that can increase my combat power, Lin Feng entered a cloud secret realm. It was extremely peaceful. Bubbles covered all kinds of treasures, such as heavenly saint weapons with surging combat power, holy fruits with tempting fragrance, and holy treasures with various miraculous effects. This was the third level of the Glory Treasury. It was where he had exchanged the Black Glory Star ring during the Battle of Glory Star. The upper grade Heart of Glory could be exchanged here. In terms of increasing combat power, it has to be a pill. Lin Feng's eyes fell on a green pill that was emitting a demonic light. Many pills had miraculous effects. They could unleash extremely strong combat power in a short period of time and overdraft one's strength. In the qualification battle that determined the outcome of the battle, one could often counterattack. Of course, there were pros and cons originally. There was nothing wrong with buying a pill, but now I have the Heart of Light. Lin Feng directly ignored the pill. Once the origin of light energy erupted, its power would far exceed that of a pill. What he lacked now was a holy treasure that could unleash the origin of light energy to the extreme. Just like a heavenly saint weapon, no matter how high its grade was, it needed a strong enough warrior to unleash its full potential. It was the same for the Heart of Light. Divine light was not an offensive, profound meaning. His offensive, profound meaning of light also had two profound meanings that had fused into a new broken sea, vortex change, and a new hailstone, demon destruction light. However, they were all high-level profound meanings. Among the top profound meanings, he had only cultivated the Song of 1,000 Thunder. Heaven-level upper holy treasure, light-type attack. Lin Feng browsed carefully. There were many such holy treasures that targeted warriors with poor comprehension. The advantage was that one could use them without thinking. There were more disadvantages. For example, if one relied too much on the holy treasure, one would not be able to grasp the essence of the profound meaning, and it was extremely difficult to cooperate with. The reason why human warriors were strong was because they could fuse profound meaning and holy chi. They could condense small forces bit by bit. They could become powerful. This was also in line with the definition of a human. Their individual strength was weak, but their overall strength was not weak. Profound meaning fused with the saber technique is equivalent to a perfect fusion. Its power can be unleashed with 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Saint Chi and Saint Treasure. It's equivalent to a normal fusion, but the power is slightly inferior. However, if one of the two far surpasses the normal state, it might not be inferior to a perfect fusion. Lin Feng nodded. He had the light source, and what he lacked now was a treasure that could unleash 100% of its power. It was a purposeful search. In this ocean-like glory treasury, he suddenly had a direction. Although there were many tempting treasures, Lin Feng knew exactly what he wanted. He wandered around for 6 hours. After seeing hundreds of light-type, high-grade, heaven-ranked sacred treasures, Lin Feng immediately made a decision. That's it. Lin Feng smiled. While the attack type is not bad, it's too rigid. It's different from it. Even without the light core, it could still be used. Lin Feng looked at the crystal white treasure in front of him that seemed to be formed by countless crisscrossing dots. Just as he was about to reach out to take it, a figure slowly walked over from not far away. The corners of his mouth curled up as if he was mocking. Lin Feng, you want to exchange for this? Yes. Lin Feng nodded. It was a man wearing refined armor with a skeleton chain around his neck. There was a curved scar on his neck, and his eyes were filled with pride. One of the 3 elite commanders. In the first round of the Path of Glory qualification battle, he won the championship of the 3 groups. Ma Yingjie. Do you know how to use this thing? Ma Yingjie asked. I know a little, Lin Feng said. Ma Yingjie's eyes narrowed. The curved light heavenly dipper disc seems simple, but it's actually extremely difficult to operate. It requires an extremely high level of instantaneous explosive power and control of the holy light chi. There are a total of 12 bends and 36 lights, and every 3 bends is one side. It's already not bad for a normal Nirvana realm expert to be able to unleash the power of one side. Only a Sage realm expert can unleash the power of 2 sides. Lin Feng nodded. In the entire Glory 7 alliances, I dare say that aside from Lightman, No other martial artist can unleash the true power of the curved light heavenly dipper disc. Ming Jie looked at Lin Feng. But with Lightman's attainments in the Tao of Light, even without using the curved light heavenly dipper disc, he can still unleash the same power. Therefore, this thing is neither too high nor too low. It's been here for dozens of years. Using a third-class military medal to exchange for this thing, Ming Jie twisted his nose. What a waste. Do you know that the treasures in the same level of the treasury are also divided into different grades and ranks? Ming Jie's gaze swept over. Like the curved light heavenly dipper disc, a holy treasure that has been here for dozens of years and is not fully used, is a low-grade holy treasure. Even if the power of its material is not bad, it can at most be ranked 7th or 8th grade. Don't say that I didn't warn you. If you're looking for a holy light treasure, there are plenty of 1st and 2nd grade treasures in the surroundings. 3rd, 6th, and 9th grade. The 3rd level of the Glory Treasury had tens of thousands of treasures. How could they all be of the same value? Although they were divided according to grade, there were still differences between good and bad. No need, thank you. Lin Feng nodded towards Ming Jie. Although his attitude was arrogant and his eyes were filled with ridicule, no matter what, it could still be considered good intentions. Ming Jie snorted and shrugged his shoulders in disdain. He was too lazy to waste any more words with Lin Feng and immediately went to search for the 1st and 2nd grade treasures he wanted. Lin Feng faintly smiled. Although Ming Jie was jesting, it did not change his determination to purchase the curved light heavenly dipper disc. He was opposed to having a deeper understanding of it. What I want is precisely this kind of holy treasure that is mainly used for control and mixed in with attack. Since Lord Lightman could display the full power of the curved light heavenly dipper disc, I can definitely do so as well. Lin Feng grabbed the curved light heavenly dipper disc and immediately left. After returning to his territory, Lin Feng gave some instructions and went into seclusion, consolidating the true Dragon Saber realm and Light Heart, diligently practicing his strongest attack, Earth Destruction, as well as using the curved light heavenly dipper disc. Lin Feng spent every hour of every day to the fullest without wasting anything. Very quickly, 5 days passed. The entire Glory Union of 7 was in an uproar as they crossed the 8th month and arrived at the 9th month. The one who was most shocked was undoubtedly Lin Feng, who had made history. In the end, with 7,054 combat strength points, he firmly held onto the 3rd place. Not only did he obtain 351 combat strength points, but he also obtained 3,510 combat strength points as a reward. This made all the ace soldiers envious and jealous. That was more than 10,000 battle points as a reward. When an ace squad carried out a mission, they would often not even be able to obtain 10,000 battle points. However, to Lin Feng, he actually did not care too much. Currently, all his attention was placed on the 2nd round of the Path of Glory qualification battle. At this moment, he was rushing towards the gathering point. Finally, it's coming. Lin Feng's battle intent was clear. Chapter 8:13. Glory Territory, a Sea of People. The 2nd round of the qualifiers would be a battle between the elites from the 1st round and the Glory team. It had always been like this in the past. Most of the time, the Glory team had the absolute advantage. Although they were saints, Nirvana stage experts were more particular about talent. Nirvana stage experts were not necessarily strong. Nirvana stage experts were not necessarily weak. This time, there were 2 Nirvana stage experts who entered the 2nd round. Aoli Lin Feng. I heard that Lin Feng obtained the recognition of the light source. Is it true? It seems to be true. It is spread like wildfire in the Ace Army territory. The person involved did not come out to deny it. The possibility is more than 80%. I have never heard of a soldier being recognized by the light source in the Nirvana stage. It must be fake news. Won't we know later? What's there to guess? Lin Feng was without a doubt the center of the discussion. In just a short month, he had created too many miracles. He had broken the record of the Ace Division's territory time and time again, especially his 7,054 battle strength points, which far exceeded the record of the Ace Division's army. It was truly shocking. 10 times the battle strength. The reason why it was so high was because no one had ever achieved it. However, Lin Feng had done it. I thought Ao Lai was the strongest soldier. Who would have thought that there would be a mountain higher than him? Let's take a look. Lin Feng is known as the Second Light Man. He is fully deserving of the title of the strongest soldier. Hey, there's so many people over there. Damn, what is the ranking of the second round? The White Ram army leader had not yet arrived. He Jin, Wei Xin Yuan, and Yuan Shuang had already brought the memory metal plate. It was still the 5 elements. Each line had 5 names. It was very similar to the first round. Instantly, it attracted the attention of countless elite captains and ace soldiers who gathered around to watch and discuss. Zhu Kuei, Meng Meng, Chuan Xian Ho, Yu Gui, Qin Tiansheng. 5 people in the first round. The second team of Glory is the strongest. They occupy 3 spots. This is too exaggerated. Only Qin Tiansheng entered the top 5 of the 18 people in the first round. Ji Zhixuan, Li Zhen, and Ma Yingjie are in the second round. There is also Goddess Wakaman and Black Impermanence. The elite commanders are too pitiful. Only 3 of them are in the top 10. The second Glory team has 4 spots in the top 10, while the first Glory team has 2 spots. It's a pity for Hong Bao. His first move was too bad. He's on the 3rd level. Lin Feng is so tall. He's the first on the 4th floor? How is that possible? Lin Feng didn't do well in the first round. How could he be ranked so high? Even higher than Ao Lai. Ranking is not only based on battle results, but also personal battle prowess. Otherwise, Hong Bao wouldn't even be able to stay on the 3rd floor. The reason why Lin Feng is ranked 16th, in my opinion, is that the rumors are most likely true. Lin Feng might really have condensed the Lightheart. Manzi, Yixia, Tyrannical, Snowstorm. Lin Feng quickly ran into 4 familiar figures and couldn't help but smile. The 4 of them came to the Nirvana world from the 33 continents with him. Now, they were all members of the Chaos team. They were all brothers and sisters. Seeing their arrival, Lin Feng was very happy. You have to do your best, Captain. Manzi charmingly winked her eyes. Let's spread the name of our Chaos team. Yixiao was still a teenager and was in high spirits. Snowstorm said, Big Brother Lin, the ranking prediction is out. You're ranked 16th on the 4th floor. Oh, Lin Feng looked into the distance. Although it was far away, he could still clearly see that his name was in the first column of the 4th row. It was very obvious. Along with him in the 4th row was the Phoenix team's captain, Poppy, Hong Jun, and the other 2 elite commanders. Looking down, there were the 5 people at the bottom of the list. Ao Lai and Qian He were among them. How annoying. We're only missing one. Yi Xiao waved his fist in the air, extremely annoyed. Lin Feng lightly nodded. If he was ranked 15th, he would be in the 3rd level. Obviously, it was better than the 4th level. I wonder what the rules of the second round will be. Lin Feng was very curious. The theme will not change. Manzi softly said. The White Ram Army's leader is very eager for quick success. He will only choose the stronger experts. From the first round to the second round, he will clearly list out the predicted rankings. He is afraid that the strong will clash too early. Also, the military merit medal will not only make the experts stronger, it will also make the participants full of fighting spirit. The theme will not change, but the rules will definitely be different from the first round. Wu Daozi said, No matter how it changes, Brother Lin will definitely advance. Yi Xia's eyes lit up. I hope so. Lin Feng smiled. Very quickly, everyone arrived. The 5 participants entered the center of the field. The faces of the elite commanders were somewhat tense and tense. The members of Glory Team were very calm, as if nothing had happened. Lin Feng stood quietly. Not far away, Ao Lai's envious gaze was fixated on him. He was a descendant of the true dragon and directly entered Glory Team as a reserve member. He was known as the strongest soldier. But now, all the limelight was stolen by an ace soldier. Even his predicted ranking was behind Lin Feng. Ao Lai's heart was filled with resentment, jealousy, and unwillingness. What's so good about a kid from a remote mountain? In terms of family background, I threw him away by 9 streets. In terms of aptitude, I am a descendant of the true dragon. In terms of looks, he is nothing. Aolai's eyes were burning with jealousy. In the Glory 7 alliances, only 2 women had moved his heart. One was Goddess Wakaman, the other was Shimanzi. The former was like a fairy who did not care about anyone, but the latter was only in love with this Lin Feng in front of him. He also knew that the leader of Glory Team, Lightman, had personally recruited and guided Lin Feng. The reason why Lin Feng could obtain the recognition of the Light Source was because of Lightman. Now, he could not even keep his title as the strongest soldier. Even the White Ram Army's leader's evaluation of Lin Feng had surpassed his. Damn it! Aolai's veins were exposed. His arrogant self-esteem was deeply trampled. Lin Feng could feel Aolai's provocation, but he ignored it. He was still somewhat afraid of the Ao family, especially after knowing that Ao, Janhui's main body, was not dead. Although he did not know which of the 4 Ao families Ao Janhui belonged to, it was better to have less contact with him, especially now that he had just entered the Nirvana realm. His wings were not fully grown yet. However, he did not care about Aolai, because his strength was far beyond the Nirvana realm. His goal in this round of competition was to be one of the top 10 people in the first 2 levels. Giant Kuei, Meng Meng, Chuan Xinho, Yu Gui, Qin Tiansheng, Goddess Wakaman, He Wu Cheng, Ma Ing Jie, Ji Jishuan, Li Zhen. 10 out of 5, I want to enter the top 10, which means I have to eliminate one of these 10. Lin Feng's heart trembled. He felt the pressure and challenge, and the blood in his body was boiling. He was not sure, but because of this, he felt the excitement of the challenge. Beside him, a familiar, huge power descended, causing the entire space to freeze. Lin Feng raised his head. Ta! The White Ram Army's leader descended from the sky, looking for guaranteed monthly votes for March. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 814. There was no need to speak, just his aura alone was enough to intimidate everyone. The White Ram Army Lord was dressed in loose martial attire. His cold eyes were like a goshawk, and there was a braid at the back of his head. His gaze swept across. Seems like everyone is here this time. After speaking, he raised his hands, and a huge martial arts stage descended from the sky. Rumble. The martial arts stage was made of pure dark brown metal, and 4 rays of light shot out from the hands of the White Ram Army Lord. Ding, 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 ding. The 4 corners of the martial arts stage blossomed with radiance, and in a split second, it was as though a hub had been erected and a powerful suction force surged out. Every hub had a resonance with the adjacent hubs, and a sizzling sound fluctuated intensely. In an instant, 4 barriers appeared, causing an uproar in the surroundings. Martial arts stage? Lin Feng sneered. The White Ram Army Lord and Yi Wu Juanju's methods were completely different. They originally thought that the second round of competition would be like a huge wave washing out the sand, and they would continue to strive for perfection like the first round, but from the looks of it, it was not so. No need to guess. The rules of this round are very simple. The White Ram Army Lord said, the 25 people will be divided into 5 groups, and each group will have 5 people in a cycle of 1-on-1 matches. The 2 people with the best results in each group will advance, and those with the same results will have an additional match. The surroundings were shocked. The spectators were whispering, and the 25 participants were also filled with suspicion. 1 martial arts stage, and each group of 5 people would compete in a cycle. As expected, it is to pursue actual results. This method of selection is even more cruel than the first round, and the element of luck is smaller. Lin Feng thought to himself, there were no tricks in a 1-on-1 match. It depended on the absolute strength of the individual soldier, and each group of 5 men. Each person would have to fight 4 matches. If I encounter an evenly matched opponent or an expert with outstanding strength, I will definitely be injured, and it will affect my future battles. Lin Feng frowned slightly. The key now was how to compete and the time interval between each match. This would determine the rhythm and method of the second round of competition. The astonishing aura spread out again, and the White Ram Army Lord swept his cold gaze. Each group will have an hourglass of time, and the 5 groups will take turns. When a victor has not been decided, I will personally decide. Although it is not overkill, you are not allowed to intentionally kill. Violators will be killed. The cold, killing aura spread out, and everyone's heart to tremble. With the personality of the White Ram Army's general. Even if he was killed by a member of Team Glory, it wouldn't matter, because he had a high status and power. A grand Nirvana expert. A small hourglass of time. Lin Feng thought to himself. In the Nirvana world, a small hourglass is 10 minutes, a medium hourglass is 30 minutes, and a large hourglass is 2 hours. 10 minutes per set. 5 groups will take turns, which is 50 minutes per round. Each group will have 10 matches, and each participant will have 4 matches. There will be a 90-minute break for each match. It's not too much, but it's not too little either. Lin Feng nodded. As long as the injuries weren't too severe, they could basically recover by 80 to 90%. Next, the chief of the White Ram Legion revealed a demonic sneer. 5 in a group. Come up and draw lots. Everyone was in heated discussion. Although it was still a group battle, he didn't expect it to be like this. The battle would take place on the martial arts stage in front of them. It was simple and straightforward. Compared to the serious expressions of the competitors, the sergeants and captains couldn't hold back their excitement. This time, they would be able to personally witness a battle between a commander and a member of the Glory team. It would definitely be an extremely exciting battle. Just like the first round, the first 5 seeds didn't need to draw lots. Giant Kuei, Meng Meng, and Chuan Xianho. Yu Guei, Qin Tiansheng, and the other 4 were already in groups 1 to 5. The first to come up was Goddess Wakaman, who drew the number 4 ball. Black Impermanence of the second Glory team stared at Qin Tiansheng with strong hostility. He was obviously not convinced that Qin Tiansheng was in the top 5. Ha! Black Impermanence drew the number 5 ball and sneered. Ma Yingjie, the champion of the third group in the first round, drew the number 1 ball. Ji Sun, the champion of the second group in the first round, drew the number 3 ball. Li Jun drew the number 2 ball. Next, the 5 people in the third group went up to draw lots. Among them were the champions of the first round like Peacock and Great Bright Lord. There was also Wu Qi, who was ranked 2nd in the Ace Troop. Hong Bao, who was known as the strongest elite commander, and the only female in the second Glory team, Go Xianxiu. Hua, there was an uproar. Go Xianxiu, who was estimated to be ranked 11th, drew the number 1 ball. Her expression was somewhat unsightly. Coincidentally, her opponent was Giant Kuei, the vice-captain of the same Glory team. He was also the strongest person in the first place among the 25 people. However, the one with an even more unsightly expression was the other participant of the first group, Ma Yingjie. Being sandwiched between the 2 members of the second Glory team, his situation was worrying. Especially since Go Xianxiu's strength was quite tyrannical, it was understandable for her to be ranked in the second group. In fact, as everyone had previously evaluated, the strength of the 25 people in the second round wasn't too different. It would be the most intense round. For example, the 5th group consisted of Qin Tiansheng, Black Impermanence, and Hong Bao. Hong Bao, who was originally the 1st seed, fell to the 3rd seed. His strength wasn't any worse than Qin Tiansheng's. Black Impermanence was also a member of the second Glory team. It was like a tripartite balance of strength. Compared to the other groups, the 5th group could be called the Group of Death. Soon, all the 5 third seeds finished drawing their lots. The strength of the second group is very different. Vice-Captain Meng Meng is definitely a one-man army. Li Jun and Wu Qi are equally matched in terms of battle strength. No, maybe the 3rd seed Wu Qi is stronger. Li Jun is good at setting up arrays, but it is difficult for him to display his strength in a one-on-one battle. The strength of the 3rd group is also very different. Chuan Xianho is very famous, and his battle strength is comparable to Vice-Captain Meng Meng. Ji Zisen and Great Wisdom King are really evenly matched. They are both ranked 1st in the first round. The 4th group is full of sparks. The 1st and 2nd teams of Glory are fighting fiercely. Yu Gui and Goddess Wakaman are fighting. I heard that Goddess Wakaman has advanced from Nirvana stage to 7th Order Saint stage in a short time. Before Lin Feng, she was the most famous martial artist from the 33 continents. Of course she is famous. Goddess Wakaman is my goddess. She's like a fairy who doesn't eat the food of mortals. Speaking of which, Shimanzi, who also came from the 33 continents, is also very beautiful. How can our Nirvana world's martial artists lose so much in terms of appearance? Everyone was in a good mood as a heated discussion broke out. Sister Manzi, which group is in the best situation now? Yixia asked. The second and third group. Shimanzi's lips moved slightly. Vice Captain Meng Meng and Vice Captain Chuan Xine Ho are strong, but the second and third positions are not strong. Lin Feng is completely capable of going against them and getting a spot. Wu Daozi said, the first, fourth, and fifth groups are not in a good situation. If Lin Feng falls in one of these three groups, the probability of him advancing is, there was some worry in his words. Indeed, the situation of these three groups was quite serious. It's Big Brother Lin's turn to draw lots. Snowdrift pointed. Everyone's eyes suddenly focused. Chapter 8:15. His gaze was extremely sharp. Lin Feng could feel the overbearing gaze in front of him flashing with light. White Ram Army Lord. Even though he did not reveal his light heart, Lin Feng clearly understood from the gaze of the chief of the White Ram Army that he had definitely seen through him. In the eyes of an expert like him, secrets could not be hidden, and there was no need to hide. Lin Feng walked up to draw his lot. He was estimated to be ranked 16th, so he was the first to draw. Different from Shimanzi, Wu Daozi, and the others, Lin Feng did not think too much. No matter which group he drew, he would deal with whatever came his way. On the contrary, he wanted to draw the fourth group, where Goddess Wakaman was. The Battle of Glorious Star that he had lost was deeply imprinted in Lin Feng's heart. He wanted to know how far away he was from Goddess Wakaman. However, reality often did not go according to one's wishes. Ball 1. Lin Feng looked at the number on the ball and laughed. He had also drawn the ball 1 in the first round. Now that he had drawn it again, it seemed like he was fated to be with the ball 1. Lin Feng was calm, but there was an uproar below, especially for Shimanzi, Yixia, and the others. Their expressions were extremely ugly. If the second and third groups were the best, then the first group was definitely the worst. Giant Kue, Ma Ingjia, Go Xianju. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes flickered. None of them are easy to deal with. Wu Daozi sighed. Although the fourth and fifth groups have a bad chance of advancing, they're still slightly better than the first group. From the current situation, the first group is the worst group. Captain's luck is really bad. What's there to be afraid of? Brother Lin will definitely advance. Yixia had a kind of blind worship towards Lin Feng. I also believe in him. Shueishiwa said. Shimanzi smiled charmingly. Lin Feng himself is not afraid, so we do not need to worry for nothing. We only need to quietly watch and support him. Maybe there will be a miracle? If he can advance from the first group, wouldn't that be an affirmation of his strength? That's right. Daozi nodded. If you can't even break through the first group, then even if you're lucky enough to make it to the third round, you'll only be a vassal. In the third round, the two captains, Guangnan, Ingjian, Hejin, Wei Xinan, and Yuan Shuang, the three ace commanders, would participate. Next was Lin Feng. Gu Jin, Poppy, and the other experts finished drawing their lots one by one. The remaining 5 included Qian He, who was estimated to be ranked 4th, and Ao Lai. The third and fifth place were the elite captains who were lucky enough to win the first round. If it was said that the 5 people on the 4th level still had a chance to fight for a spot, then the 5 people on the 5th level had less than a 5% chance of advancing. Damn it! Ao Lai drew the number 5 ball, which was also one of the groups of death. Instead of drawing the number 5 ball, Ao Lai would rather draw the number 1 ball. At least he could compete with Lin Feng. He was incomparably jealous of Lin Feng. What he wanted to do the most was to use his true strength to beat him down on the martial arts stage, but it seemed that the chances were slim. Qianhe's body trembled. Looking at the number 1 ball in his hand, Qianhe's face turned pale and ugly. Before, he had mocked Lin Feng for his bad luck, but now it was his turn. Qianhe. Lin Feng smiled. His luck wasn't too bad. At the very least, he could personally eliminate Thousand River. Pa! Following the final name on the memory metal plate, the 5 groups were formed. Lin Feng's gaze landed on Giant Kuei and Ma Yingjie. Go Xinjiu and Qianhe were deep in thought. This time, it was different from the first round. The competition format was different, the opponents were different, and the strength of the participants was also different. Without a doubt, the strongest is Giant Kuei. Lin Feng knew very well that the first seed in the second round was the same as Hong Bao in the first round. He had no chance of winning against Hong Bao. Excluding him, Giant Kuei has a 90% chance of advancing to the next round with a complete victory. If I can win the remaining 3 battles, then I'll be the first one. You'll be able to advance. After a brief analysis, Lin Feng was clear. Qianhe directly excluded him. His opponents were the elite commander Ma Yingjie and the weakest member of the second glory team, Go Xinjiu. The strength of the two was about the same. Normal strength. They might even be slightly stronger than me. Lin Feng thought to himself, but if I use my light origin energy, I should be able to win against them. Only, Lin Feng frowned. The light origin energy was like a seed in his body. Although it wasn't weak, it was very small. Simply speaking, it had very little energy. It could be used. It could also be recovered, but the recovery time was very long. I can only use it once. Should I use it on Ma Yingjie or Go Xinjiu? Lin Feng sighed lightly. He didn't have an accurate answer. The situation is constantly changing. I can only wait and see. Let's see how strong Ma Yingjie and Go Xinjiu are. White Ram Army Commander shouted. Old rules. The first in the group will be rewarded with a 3rd-grade military medal. However, if you advance with a complete victory and each battle is less than half an hourglass, you will be rewarded with a 2nd-grade military medal. Complete victory, half an hourglass? In other words, each battle will end within 5 minutes. Lin Feng didn't mind. With his strength, it was impossible for him to obtain a reward. In the first round, it was purely luck. But in this round, each battle was a true duel. There was no luck involved. On the contrary, Giant Kuei, Meng Meng, and the rest's eyes lit up. Although they were the vice-captains of the glory team, who wouldn't want a 2nd-grade military medal? That was something that could be exchanged for a top-grade Heavenly Saint weapon or a top-grade Heaven Saint treasure sacred fruit. Only a rich and overbearing expert like the White Ram Army Commander wouldn't care and casually throw out. Quiet. The White Ram Army Commander's expression was ice cold. His gaze swept over. Let's start from the first group. The first round, number 1 against number 5, number 2 against number 4, number 3 will be free. Each battle will be limited to a small hourglass. Begin. As his voice resounded, everyone's gaze immediately gathered on the stage. Ta! Ta! 2 figures jumped in one after another. One was a 5-meter-tall giant with a huge hammer in his hand. He was insufferably mighty. Once he appeared, the air on the stage froze. He was the strongest expert of this round, the second glory team's vice-captain. Huge hammer. Although his head was a little weak, his strength was not weak at all. Huge hammer. Huge hammer. Huge hammer. Heaven-shaking shouts resounded. The huge hammer was famous in the Glory 7 alliances. He raised his arm high and roared like a giant. On the stage, Qianhe's face was ashen. His aura was completely suppressed by the huge hammer. Although he was the strongest Saint Chi cultivator in the Ace Army, his opponent was simply too strong. He was simply too strong. There is no suspense in this battle. Lin Feng watched from below the stage. His gaze involuntarily glanced into the distance and met with another gaze. Sparks flew everywhere. It was a man wearing refined armor with a skeleton chain around his neck. There was a curved scar on his neck. It was the elite army commander he had met in the Glory Treasury. Ma Yingjie. Number 1. The first battle, it's him, Lin Feng said softly. Thank you to the brothers and sisters who gave Xiao Xiao a guaranteed monthly vote. Xiao Xiao has nothing to repay you with except to update on time. Chapter 816. The first battle was about to begin. See? Although Qian, he was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot, and his courage was commendable in the face of the terrifying, crushing power of the giant hammer. A single hammer strike was enough to cause cracks to appear on the high-quality stage. His frail body could not withstand it all. Although Qian, he was the strongest sacred power cultivator in the trump card army, Sledgehammer was the vice-captain of the second glory team. One in the sky, one on the ground. It was not a battle of the same level. Sledgehammer sent Qian, he flying with one move. The second move made Qian, he vomit blood and fall out of the stage, ending the battle. The absolute strength of the first seed in the second round was not just an estimate. Sledgehammer did not use his real skills. Lin Feng saw it clearly. This 2.5-meter tall giant had absolute strength that surpassed ordinary people. Although his physique was strong, and if he fully unleashed his titanium gray body 8th tier, his physique would not be inferior to an ascended saint expert. However, compared to this giant hammer, he was still lacking. The difference in strength has an irreplaceable effect. Lin Feng understood. If he and Sledgehammer were both at the 9th level of Ascension stage, after using the 8th level of the titanium grade, he was confident that he could unleash Sledgehammer's strength. But right now, he was only at the 9th level of Nirvana stage. Sledgehammer wins. The White Ram army leader directly announced the result and swept his gaze. Next pair, number 2 Ma Yingjie, number 4 Lin Feng. Lin Feng was slightly startled. Previously, he thought that it would be a cycle of one battle per group. But now, it seemed that it was not the case. Instead, it was a competition of 2 battles per group. There is not much difference. The rest time is still the same. I can get double the rest time in the round where I have a bye. Xiao. Ma Yingjie broke through the air and was the first to step onto the stage. The skull necklace on his neck made a crisp sound, and the scar looked sinister. His cold gaze looked straight at Lin Feng and provocatively crooked his finger. Let's test his strength first before deciding whether to use the light heart. Lin Feng thought for a moment and lightly jumped into the air. Exclamations came from the surroundings. Lin Feng crossed the barrier. He landed on the stage. The light heart's energy could be used, but couldn't be retracted. It would only explode in an instant, but it would take a long time to recover. If he used it against Ma Yingjie, then he wouldn't be able to use it against Go Xiangio. Clang! Ding! A saber and a sword. They clashed with each other. Ma Yingjie's weapon was a huge sword that was half as tall as a person. It emitted a pure aura of earth energy that was incomparably compatible with him. Lin Feng did not know much about Ma Yingjie, but he knew that Ma Yingjie cultivated the Yang Kuan path, fusing the 5 elements Yang Saint Qi with the Earth Saint Qi, a supreme grade heavenly saint weapon. Lin Feng was secretly shocked. The supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Hate Tongue, which had slaughtered many people in the 33 continents, was not surprising here. All the elite commanders were equipped with a peak quality heavenly saint weapon. After fighting on the battlefield for so many years, they had not only tempered their strength, but they had also obtained battle achievements, medals, and boundless military merits. WW. A heaven saint weapon was the most important saint treasure for a warrior. Elite commanders who did not lack military exploits would naturally strive for the best. Ding! Ma Yingjie's imposing aura spread out. The earth energy fused with the huge sword, forming his unique, huge sword world. No matter in which aspect, it was superior to the Earthwalker's Earth world. Ma Yingjie naturally had full confidence in facing Lin Feng. His only goal was to advance to the next round. The sacred quenching fruit I exchanged for this time is just right. Ma Yingjie inwardly praised his luck. He was the same as Li Zhen, Great Light Lord, and the others. He had obtained a 3rd-grade military merit medal in the first round. While other experts were exchanging their medals for saint treasures, he had chosen a sacred quenching fruit for the second round of the qualification contest. Sacred fruits were different from medicinal pills. Relatively speaking, the sacred fruit was more tolerant and did not have too strong of a side effect. However, its power was undoubtedly weaker and was replaced by the sacred fruit's durability. A high-grade Heaven Step Holy Quenching Fruit was enough to last Ma Ing Jie 2 to 3 hours. However, whoosh, as if there was a huge golden dragon roaring, the blade world instantly appeared. It contended against the huge sword world. In just an instant, a huge golden dragon appeared from the center of the huge sword world. On the stage, the two auras fought like Chu and Han. Neither was willing to back down. Activate Sword Aura. Ma Yingjie immediately attacked. Lin Feng had shown his prowess for the first time and contended against his giant sword world, causing Ma Yingjie to instantly withdraw his contempt. The huge sword was unsheathed. Like a ray of light piercing through, it rumbled as it went straight for Lin Feng, vividly displaying the words, "Move like a crafty rabbit." New storm. Lin Feng did not dodge. Even though he was currently at the 7th layer of titanium grade, it did not mean his body was stronger than Ma Yingjie's. The difference between Nirvana Realm and Nirvana Realm was 2 whole levels. Rumble, although Ma Yingjie's Yang Kun origin point was not as terrifying as Lin Feng's, it was still a 3rd layer origin point, and its power could not be underestimated. Lin Feng swung his blade. The sky was filled with rumbling thunder. Whirlpools of thunder appeared in the sky, devouring Ma Yingjie's energy and his sword. Bang! The confrontation was intense. Lin Feng turned the tables and became the host. In terms of body quality, he was inferior to Ma Yingjie. In terms of the fusion of sword arts and profound intent, Ma Yingjie was clearly superior. This feeling was like returning to the Battle of Glorious Star when he fought against Goddess Wakaman. He was forced to exhaust all of his strength and use offense as defense. Chaotic Sword Aura. Ma Yingjie's move was broken, but his next move was immediately followed. The sword aura was chaotic, transforming into layers of Yang, Kun, Sacred Qi. Earth Sacred Qi was good at defense, while Yang Kun Sacred Qi was good at offense. Therefore, it created the reputation of elite commander Ma Yingjie. Lin Feng's attacks were fast and fierce, not giving Ma Yingjie any chance to counterattack. Geographical position. How big was the stage? The size of a soccer field. This kind of place was the most suitable for the current Lin Feng. He couldn't afford to be arrogant, but the other martial artists couldn't either. They are actually evenly matched. No, Ma Yingjie has a small advantage. Look, although he is defending, he is not at all exhausted. Instead, Lin Feng's continuous attacks are exhausting him greatly. As long as Lin Feng is caught by Ma Yingjie once, it will be troublesome. Everyone discussed in low voices. After all, they were all elite captains and ace captains. Their gazes were naturally sharp. Do your best, Brother Lin. Yi Xiao's expression was excited. The key is still the light core. Shi Manzi said, Lin Feng is currently only slightly weaker than Ma Yingjie, but he still has the initiative. As long as he explodes with the light core, he will definitely defeat Ma Yingjie. Big Brother Lin will definitely win. Snow Blowing also said, even if he passes this hurdle, he still has to face the encirclement of Giant Kuei and Go Xian Wang. Wu Dao Zi said, Lin Feng looks like he is fiercely attacking, but in reality, he is not good at defense. His goal is to tie down Ma Yingjie. Without exploding the light core, he doesn't need to win. As long as he can tie down Ma Yingjie for 10 minutes, he will succeed. At that time, he would have more confidence to face Giant Kuei and Go Xian Wang. However, Ma Yingjie's hurdle was not easy to pass. Looking for guaranteed monthly votes, brothers, let's have a little more AA. Chapter 817. The opponent Lin Feng was facing this time was not ordinary. As one of the 3 elite commanders, Ma Yingjie's ranking as the 3rd seed in the first round was not undeserved. His rich experience in battle allowed him to instantly see through Lin Feng's goal. With a deep shout, the skull on Ma Yingjie's neck suddenly lit up, revealing an ominous glint. Not good. Lin Feng's reaction could not be said to be slow. As a sacred energy cultivator, he was quite outstanding in the aspect of perception. He quickly separated and quickly retreated. While retreating, the peaceful nether source exploded and new ocean breaker was quickly swung out, instantly colliding with the skull. Rays of Yang Kuan power shot out from the skull's shining eyes and collided with Heitung. The impact was extremely strong. Lin Feng's whirlpool body hurriedly moved and retreated. He was not injured, but the distance between them had been pulled apart. "Oomph." Ma Ying-jie sneered. "You want to tie? Stop dreaming." Ma Ying-jie's eyes glinted coldly as the curved scar on his neck twisted. With a roar, blazing flames gushed out from his body. His masculine aura strengthened his entire body. Ma Ying-jie's muscles swelled and became taut as a terrifying power spread out. Flood Yang physique explode. The extremely rare bloodline in the 33 continents was not rare in the Nirvana world. Such a powerful aura. Lin Feng forcibly stopped himself. This short exchange allowed him to have a rough understanding of Ma Ying-jie's strength. Ma Ying-jie's aura was constantly rising, and his strength was rapidly increasing. If he held back, even if he used Light Heart, he might not be able to win. After all, his usage of Light Origin was not as good as Light Man's. There are still 3 matches left. There are many variables. Lin Feng pondered and instantly made his decision. Rather than holding back his strength, it would be better to explode first and win against Ma Ying-jie. It's coming, Ma Ying-jie's Flood Yang physique. We want to see your ultimate move. Ma Ying-jie. Flood Yang, 3 sword forms. Kill that ace army brat without leaving anything behind. Take the first victory and gain face for our elite army. Most of the people present were the elite army. At this moment, their cheers were even louder. He had been fighting all year round. Ma Ying-jie, after his bloodline explosion, definitely had the battle strength of the top 3 elite commanders. Especially the Flood Yang physique's instantaneous explosive power, it was exceptionally shocking. The power of Hongyang's 3 swords grew stronger with each strike. Shi Manzi lightly pursed her lips and did not say anything, but it was clear that she was nervous. Yixia clenched his fists tightly as cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. Even though they were separated by such a distance, he could still feel Ma Ying-jie's tyrannical battle strength. In fact, almost no one was optimistic that Lin Feng could win this battle, except for, it's coming. In the distance, Light Man floated in the air, the seal of light on his forehead pulsating slightly. The Light Man's lips curled into a smile, as if he had been drawn by something. Amidst the whistling of the crowd, the center of the martial arts stage lit up with a resplendent white radiance. It completely enveloped the whole stage, and dense light energy spread out. Everyone's eyes widened. He looked over in shock. "Oh!" The White Ram Legion's chief revealed a rare, faint smile. Not bad. The single sentence of "not bad" was already impressive enough. There weren't many people in the entire Glory 7 who could receive such an evaluation from the White Ram Army. Big Dipper chart. The moment Lin Feng's light origin exploded, the crystal white curved light Big Dipper disc flew out from his hand. Driven by the origin energy, the power of the light Saint Chi splashed out, and Lin Feng could control it as he wished. Normal Nirvana cultivators would be able to use 1 curved light Big Dipper disc, and Saint Ascension cultivators would be able to use 2. But at this moment, Chi. In the blink of an eye, 18 sides of light appeared. The light origin's powerful strength. It instantly combined with the true dragon blade intent, shattering Ma Ying-jie's giant sword world. Ma Ying-jie, who was in the midst of his bloodline explosion, was shocked. He naturally knew that Lin Feng possessed the Big Dipper chart, because he had previously advised Lin Feng not to buy it. It was hard to control and hard to use. Stupid, he still bought it. Ma Ying-jie did not care because he clearly knew the Big Dipper chart's nature. Unless Xiao. Instantly, the 3rd side appeared. Ma Ying-jie opened his eyes wide in shock, not daring to believe as he looked at the intersection of the 27 lights. Feeling that something was wrong, he immediately attacked with his giant sword, but in the next instant, the 4th side appeared. 36 lights intersected, forming a Big Dipper image in the air. Shua, boundless light. The true dragon roared. As Lin Feng closed and closed, the entire Big Dipper chart violently rotated and shrunk like a golden hoop. Ma Yingjie's strength fiercely exploded, but was restricted by the light origin. His Yang Kuan holy qi was completely restricted. As his giant sword rumbled, Ma Yingjie's veins were exposed, wanting to break out of the Big Dipper chart. Ta! However, Lin Feng suddenly appeared and launched an attack with the force of 1,000 caddies. Hei Tong fully displayed the terrifying power of the Tai Nether Source. Even though it was only the first stage, it already surpassed Ma Yingjie's third stage Yangkoan Source. From the inside to the outside, it completely suppressed Ma Yingjie. Lin Feng was like an executioner executing him. The Big Dipper chart was not an attack-type sacred treasure, but a control-type sacred treasure. The light energy controlled everything. The surrounding soldiers opened their eyes wide in shock, looking at Lin Feng, who was like a Shura descending to the world, breaking apart the blade that cut through the horizon. New Sea Breaker, the first style of the 7 limits. However, its current power surpassed the 6th style, New Earth Destruction. Driven by the origin of light, Lin Feng used the new Broken Sea Realm's advanced profound meaning of light, whirlpool transformation, to its fullest. Combined with the whirlpool body and Tai Yu holy qi, Lin Feng's attack had completely surpassed Ma Yingjie's level of strength, even before his bloodline had reached 100% eruption. Pung! Pa! Pa! On the stage, the incomparably hard metal was forcibly cut open like a chasm. Ma Yingjie laid on the ground, his eyes empty and powerless. His armor was completely shattered and blood flowed from his body. His injuries were not light. The White Ram Army Lord hovered above the stage. With his strength, it was easy for him to save Ma Yingjie, but he did not act. This was because Lin Feng did not have any killing intent. Lin Feng wins. The White Ram Army Lord's eyes flashed. An incorporeal energy brushed past and moved Ma Yingjie out of the stage. Lin Feng looked at Ma Yingjie and leaped out. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded, especially the place where the members of the Second Glory Team were gathered at the leftmost side. The place where the members of the Second Glory Team were gathered was the most intense. Giant Kuei, go Xian Ming. It will be troublesome next. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He had used his trump card, but he still had 2 tough battles to fight. Giant Kuei was a definite loss for him, and go Xian Ming. She is the weakest member of the Second Glory Team. She is roughly on par with Ma Yingjie. Lin Feng thought to himself, if I want to advance, I must not lose to go Xian Ming within a small hourglass of time and fight to a draw, then place my hopes on Ma Yingjie. Lin Feng's gaze landed not far away. Ma Yingjie had already begun to recover. He had held back just now. Although Ma Yingjie's injuries seemed serious, it was only his armor that was damaged. The rest were external injuries. It was impossible for him to recover to his peak strength, but recovering 90% of his strength was not a problem. If he wanted to advance, then Ma Yingjie was very important. To be continued. Chapter 8:18. Was that light source just now? Yes, didn't you see? Lin Feng's light core is shining brightly, and the light energy is shockingly enormous. The so-called origin energy is like the crystallization of energy essence. The existence of the essence of energy causes energy to have life. I didn't expect Lin Feng to really be recognized by the origin energy. Ma Yingjie's loss is not unjust. How is it not unjust? Ma Yingjie lost because he couldn't even use 60% of his strength. The main reason is that Lin Feng used the holy treasure, heavenly curved light disc, at the perfect time and caught Ma Yingjie off guard. Although the light source is strong, it isn't strong enough to defeat Ma Yingjie in one move. That's right, Ma Yingjie didn't even use his strongest Hanyang 3-sword moves, and his Hanyang physique didn't completely explode. Everyone was discussing this battle. They were shocked at Lin Feng's light core and regretful at Ma Yingjie's defeat. Compared to the first battle between Giant Kuei and Qian He, Lin Feng and Ma Yingjie's battle was undoubtedly more interesting and worth watching. In a clash of 2 strong, Lin Feng defeated Ma Yingjie, who was ranked 3rd among the elite commanders. Damn it, Ma Ying-jie, who was meditating with his eyes closed, gritted his teeth. His heart ached when he thought of the previous defeat. He had underestimated his opponent too much. For the second round of the qualification battle, he had specially used a third-grade military medal to exchange for a quenching skin fruit. Who would have thought that he would lose before even using it? If his bloodline had completely exploded with the addition of the quenching skin fruit, even if Lin Feng had the light source, he would still be able to fight him. No matter how bad it would still be a 50-50 situation. How could he have lost in one move and lost his reputation? You want exchange for this? Do you know that the treasures in the same level of the treasury are also divided into different grades? Thinking of his conversation with Lin Feng in the glory treasury, Ma Ying-jie's face burned even more. Previously, he had sneered at Lin Feng's choice of the heavenly curved light disc and thought that Lin Feng didn't know what was good for him, choosing a lower-grade holy treasure. However, he had lost to this lower-grade holy treasure. Crafty brat. Ma Ying-jie knew that Lin Feng had held back in the end. You want to borrow my power to exhaust Go Xian Wei. I'm just afraid that you're too clever for your own good. As long as I defeat Go Xian Jiao, and you don't have Guang Xian support, you will lose without a doubt. The three of us will have the same battle record. At that time, it is still unknown who will have the last laugh. To be able to climb to the position of an elite commander, Ma Ying-jie was not someone who would easily give up. There was still hope for him to advance. The second group, Meng Meng against Qi Yi, the chief of the White Ram Army shouted. Without wasting any time, just a few seconds after Lin Feng and Ma Ying-jie jumped off the stage, the White Ram Army chief announced the start of the third battle. In the second group, number 1 will fight number 5. Just like the first group, it was also a battle with a great disparity in strength. In fact, it was even better than that. Whoosh, whoosh. The two flying swords directly pierced through Qi Yi's defense, and the battle ended in just 5 seconds. Although Meng Meng looked cute and spoke cute, her strength was not cute at all. However, her strength was not the least bit adorable. She ended the battle even faster than the giant hammer. As if to demonstrate her strength, she proudly stuck out her flat chest and snorted twice. As the only Saint Energy cultivator in the Glory Squad, Meng Meng's strength was not exaggerated at all. She was the number 1 Glory team's vice-captain. Meng Meng wins. The chief of the White Ram Army shouted. Next battle, Li Jun against Gu Jin. So fast. Lin Feng had just finished adjusting his breathing. In less than 30 seconds, the battle ended. The second group, number 1 Li Jun and number 4 Gu Jin, had already jumped onto the stage, and the hourglass began to count down. The time I calculated before was wrong. Lin Feng shook his head. Indeed, there were about 8 to 9 battles before his next battle. Each battle was 10 minutes, but not 90 minutes, because the majority of the battles did not require 10 minutes, especially battles with great disparity in strength. For example, Giant Hammer against Qian He, Meng Meng against Qi Yi, added together, it did not take more than 30 seconds. Even the battle between him and Ma Ying-jie only took a few minutes. 8 to 9 battles would take at most 30 minutes, and then it would be his turn. The time to rest is very short. It will be a continuous battle. Lin Feng sighed inwardly, his gaze falling on Li Jun and Gu Jin, who had already begun their intense battle. He immediately sat down cross-legged, not to recover from his injuries, as he had only suffered a small injury. The adjustment of his breathing vortex body had already healed him. What he needed to do now was concentrate on the light core. Regardless of whether I succeed or not, I will give it a try. Lin Feng's heart moved. He immersed himself in the light core. Recover the light origin energy. Lord Lightman said it was simple. Lin Feng thought it was easier said than done. That day when he left, Lord Lightman had mentioned that if the light core's energy was exhausted, he only needed to concentrate on the light core to quickly recover, or let it slowly absorb itself. He had tried twice, but had not succeeded. Because he did not know what the light core was, Lord Lightman did not explain. Just like obtaining the recognition of the origin energy, there were some things that needed to be comprehended by oneself. Rather than watching the battles of the other groups, he might as well try concentrating on the light core. Exhale, inhale. Lin Feng calmed his mind and tried to enter the light core. It was an existence that existed in the depths of the wisdom soul, a mysterious place that contained the light origin energy. Just like the mystery of the soul in the third diagram, this place seemed to contain the greatest secrets of mankind, with endless possibilities. Concentrate. What is concentrating? How does the light origin energy recover quickly? What is it? Lin Feng entered a state of groping. However, to the other participants, Lin Feng was adjusting his breathing to recover, which was normal. After all, this was a battle of attrition, and it required the participants to have a high endurance. The second round continued like a raging fire. Li Jun and Gu Jin were locked in battle. Although Li Jun was the number 1 seed of Group 2, his strength was not much stronger than Gu Jin's. It was only because of his outstanding performance in the first round that he was placed in the number 1 seed position. Moreover, the battle on the stage was not suitable for Li Jun, and his formation could not display its power. After fighting until the sand in the hourglass almost ran out, Li Jun barely managed to defeat Gu Jin, obtaining a victory. Li Jun wins. Third group, number 1 Chuan Xinho versus number 5 Tu Qiong. One group after another. The battles continued. The third group, the fourth group, and the fifth group. Basically, the rankers in the first position won easily. After all, the rankers in the first position had the greatest disparity in strength. Just as Lin Feng had estimated, in a short period of minutes, they had already completed a cycle and reached the next group. Ha! Lin Feng opened his eyes and frowned. His luck was naturally not that good, and he could comprehend it so easily. After a minute of meditation, he did not have any clue. The consumption of the light origin energy was quite huge, but there was no other way. He could only take one step at a time. The first round is over. The second round begins. The White Ram Army's Army Lord's voice was cold as he swept his gaze. We will start from the first group. Looking for guaranteed monthly votes, brothers and sisters to be continued. Chapter 819. Number 1 against. Number 3. Number 4 against number 5. Number 2 is free. The White Ram Military Lord said. Oh. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. He could feel the slight pause in the White Ram Military Lord's words. It was possible that he did not intend to give number 2 Ma Yingjie a free pass. He glanced at Ma Yingjie. Although he did not attack heavily, Ma Yingjie's injuries could not be healed in a short period of time. Recovering 80% of his battle strength was already pretty good. After a free pass, Ma Yingjie should be able to recover at least 90% of his battle strength in the next round. Lin Feng said. Ta! Go Xin Gio jumped up. However, he did not see Giant Kuei's figure. Ta! Lin Feng was startled. His expression immediately congealed as he thought to himself, so cunning. Damn it! Not far away. Ma Yingjie opened his eyes wide in anger. There were whispers below, but the White Ram Military Lord's expression did not change. 10 seconds, Giant Kuei did not appear. 10, 9, 8. He calmly counted. Everyone knew that Giant Kuei was doing this on purpose. Lightman looked towards the second glory team. Yingjian's not tall figure landed in the center of the group of members. He had a cold smile on his face. 3, 2, 1. Go Xin wins. There was an uproar. Ma Yingjie's expression was the most unsightly as he was deathly pale. After this round, Giant Kuei's final result would be 3 wins and 1 loss. Unless he could win against Giant Kuei, his best result would be 2 wins and 2 losses. Qian he would undoubtedly lose. If Lin Feng lost to Go Xin, then Go Xin's final result would be the same as Giant Kuei's, 3 wins and 1 loss. If Lin Feng was lucky enough to win, Lin Feng's result would be 3 wins and 1 loss. I lost. Ma Yingjie softly fell to the ground. Guaranteed entry. Lin Feng was also helpless. The rules were set like this. There was nothing wrong with the second glory team doing this. Other than cursing in his heart, what else could he do? As long as they did not violate the rules, they could do whatever they wanted. Even the White Ram military lord did not express his opinion, because the one who suffered a loss was the second glory team. Zhu Kuei lost a second-class military medal. Lin Feng was very clear. With giant Kuei's strength, it would be easy for him to finish every battle within 5 minutes. However, he was willing to sacrifice this time in order to ensure that Go Exinhua would advance. The White Ram army lord naturally didn't care. A true expert would definitely be able to stand out. Only the weak would complain. Moreover, even if the heart-hooking centipede managed to enter the third round without sufficient strength, it would still be eliminated. It was just an extra round in the qualification battle. But to himself, the influence is huge. Lin Feng looked at Ma Yingjie. At this moment, he no longer had any fighting spirit. This was because regardless of whether or not he could defeat Go Exingio, the chances of him advancing to the next round were very slim. Unless he prayed that Qianhe would suddenly explode and Zhu Kuei would lose control. But the chances of that happening were too small. When enemies meet on a narrow path, the courageous one wins. Ma Yingjie, who had lost his will to fight, was definitely not Go Xinhua's opponent. As for himself, in other words, I must defeat Go Exingio in order to advance. Lin Feng looked at the distant Go Exingio. Even though she managed to obtain a victory, it didn't mean she was weak. It was just that the Glory's second small team wanted to be absolutely safe. After exhausting the energy of the Light Heart, would he be able to defeat a member of the Glory's second small team? The possibility is less than 5%. Lin Feng let out a sigh and smiled. No matter what, he had to give it his all and fight regardless of the final result. The White Ram Army Lord's voice resounded in his ears. Lin Feng looked at the nearby Qian, he who had an uneasy expression, and leaped up. A battle between ace troops. Qianhe ground his teeth, and his eyes flickered. The current you is just a toothless tiger. Lin Feng smiled. Even if I don't have any teeth, I am still stronger than a sick cat. You. Qianhe's eyes suddenly turned dark red. The braids at the back of his head stood up. His light blue hair looked like a medusa. I will calculate the old and new grudges together. Without the Light Heart, you are not my opponent. With a roar, Qianhe directly took out the top-quality Ascended Saint artifact, Huyin Shuttle. For warriors, weapons were the most important. And for Saint energy cultivators, the most important thing was Saint artifacts. Whether it was object control, spirit, or illusion. Saint artifacts had irreplaceable functions. Qianhe was an object control and illusion cultivator. With object control as the primary and illusion cultivator as the secondary, Lin Feng knew Qianhe very well. Because part of the reason Yi Xia joined the Kuei squad was because of Qianhe. True Dragon Blade World. Lin Feng's aura suddenly pressed down. Qianhe sneered disdainfully. He didn't even put it in his eyes. This is useless to Saint energy cultivators. Before he could finish, Qianhe's expression changed. He exclaimed, "You!" The strong Saint energy suppressed him. The golden dragon roared. Lin Feng released the power of the true dragon source. Huyin Shuttle, second attack form. Qianhe reacted quickly. In an instant, the dark green Huyin Shuttle suddenly enlarged, like a blood guillotine opening its fangs. The spikes condensed Saint energy, and the attack speed was extremely fast. However, Lin Feng was already prepared. New hail. Lin Feng suddenly swung his blade. Combining the high-level, profound meaning of light, the demon-extinguishing light, the unique freezing effect of the hail, and his deeper understanding and expansion of the profound meaning of light. Wherever the blade passed, layers of hail would condense. The Huyin Shuttle's fangs were instantly frozen. The new hail was a group attack and restriction technique. Its only flaw was that its power was insufficient. Therefore, he added the demon-extinguishing light because it had a strong piercing attack, causing the power of each layer of hail to seep into the bone. The spiral arm of light allowed the hail to continuously penetrate and change, increasing the area it covered. The most outstanding part was that the demon-extinguishing light had a strong killing effect on demons. Right now, he didn't need the attack power of the hail. He only needed time. Qianhe's expression was ugly. Lin Feng's figure suddenly appeared like a ghost. With a cold snort, Qianhe's dark red eyes lit up. His bloodline power erupted, greatly increasing the effect of the illusion. As a saint energy cultivator, illusion was often a compulsory course. It was a combination of attack and defense, and the attack range and range were extremely large. However, Qianhe had forgotten one thing. The Linfeng in front of him was a monster with 8,988 points in the Tempering Heart Realm. He was only one step away from the final 6 paths of reincarnation in the Tempering Heart Realm. This was because Linfeng didn't want to step in and didn't want to go against his own heart. In terms of illusion, Qianhe was inferior to Yi Xia, who specialized in this field. Back then, Linfeng could even pass through Yi Xia's 1,000-layer illusory heart mirror, let alone these demons and monsters before him. Fear and terror were only at the superficial level of a human's heart. The truly profound level was the 7 emotions and 6 desires of a human. Your illusion is too weak. Lin Feng's voice resounded in Qianhe's ears. In an instant, the blade light descended from the sky. Qi, the Tai Nether Source's power, was extremely dazzling. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He wasn't a kind-hearted gentleman. He had always repaid kindness with kindness and hatred with revenge. Toward Qianhe, bang, he naturally wouldn't show mercy.